Bearcat football has been an afterthought here in Cincinnati, seen as a basketball school in a pro sports town. But not tonight, with the most important game in school history and the promise of a standing room only crowd. So much is on the line as the number 6 West Virginia Mountaineers invade Nippert Stadium to take on the 22nd ranked Bearcats of Cincinnati. Football Primetime on ESPN is brought to you by Hampton Hotels. We are down to 3 possibilities in the Big East title race. Connecticut still number 1 after beating Syracuse. West Virginia tied with them in the loss column. Cincinnati is 1 game behind, and obviously the Bearcats would have to win tonight. Good evening, everybody. Mike Patrick along with Todd Blackledge. It's great to have you with us. West Virginia 1 step closer to a national title shot after Oregon lost on Thursday night. They have to run the table, but they've got a great guy to lead them, and that's the most dangerous player in the country, Pat White.
You know, the more I watch Pat White, the more I enjoy him. And this is his 3rd year as a starter, and this year teams are stacking the line against West Virginia, trying to make him throw, and he's responded, completing 69% of his passes, 11 touchdowns. But his bread and butter is as a runner. He has exceptional speed and vision, and when you play Pat White, if you give him too much space or if you play passively, he will make you look silly. Cincinnati must defend him as a runner tonight.
And the last couple of years, he has made the Cincinnati defense look better. They are much better this year. In fact, they have some very good, outstanding statistics on that side of the ball. And here come the Bearcats. They've beaten 2 top 25 teams in the last 2 weeks, and this is the biggest game in the history of this program. As I said, they played a pretty good schedule and won against 2 top 25 teams the last 2 weeks. They've got a terrific quarterback of their own, and that's Ben Mock, a guy you might remember from Wake Forest.
Yeah, Ben Mock's story is a great story of perseverance. He has rehabbed and come back from a horrific injury to his right throwing arm, but he came back. He won the job here. He won over his teammates, and he's a guy who makes plays. Another one of those dual-threat quarterbacks. Not quite the runner Pat White is, but an excellent thrower and a great leader. He's coming off of his best game of the season last week against UConn. He will have to play a similar type game for the Bearcats this evening.
All right, Todd, late in the season, the games get bigger and bigger, and on ABC, ESPN, and ESPN2, so do the celebrations.
The best. Now you're being put to the test. Welcome to the Terror Dome. Now you're on your own. We gon' see who regulates and who gets to celebrate. I just wanna celebrate. I wanna celebrate. I just wanna
celebrate. ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Taco Bell. Think outside the box. No Country for Old Men. Rated R. Now playing in select theaters everywhere November 21st. And Heineken. It's all about the beer.
Welcome back to Cincinnati, Ohio. Here's what you'll see on tonight's show. With the race wide open for college football's highest honor, only a few weeks left before Heisman ballots are due. We'll see how Todd is handicapping the hopefuls now. We'll take a look at Brian Kelly's winning ways, how he has already had an impact on this Bearcat program. And the culinary tour continues from the Queen City with Todd's Taste of the Town. You don't want to miss this one. Holly Rowe will work the sidelines for us. And Holly, Cincinnati quarterback Ben Mock, something of a medical miracle, isn't he?
Well, you're right. Actually, around here, they call him a bionic man. Guys, he is playing with 7 or 8 screws in his throwing arm, a titanium plate, and 3 anchors to keep his shoulder in place. He told me that every single day he's got to overcome something new with this injury. This week it was the cold that really bothered him in practice Thursday. But guys, the good news for him, it's not too cold out here tonight. He's in just shirt sleeves here, and you can see from that nasty scar what an effect it's had on his throwing arm. He did say that he takes a shot of Toradol before the game in the locker room to help relieve the pain and numb it. He said before he takes the shot, he can only throw it about 20 yards downfield. After the shot, he feels like he's Superman. We'll see how long that holds up tonight, guys.
All right, Holly, if he has any left over, send it up here. We expected some really bad weather here tonight. Very cold, but it's still 48 degrees and hasn't gone down in quite a while. So it may not be a factor for Mock's arm. It may not be a factor for anybody. Pat White's not real fond of cold weather either. McAfee will kick for West Virginia. Gilliard and Smith are deep for Cincinnati as the Bearcats will get the ball first. McAfee, a very good place kicker. Low line drive on this one. And taking it to 10. And they'll return it back just across the 30-yard line. To tell us about the Cincinnati offense, here's UC superfan Nick Lachey.
Leading the Bearcat offense from Canton, Ohio, quarterback Ben Mock. Making his 3rd start is sophomore running back Jacob Ramsey, and leading the Bearcats in catches, wide receiver Dominic Goodman. Anchoring a very, very tough offensive line is Digger Bujnak, whose own father played for my hometown Cincinnati Bengals.
Thank you, Nick. Cincinnati native. Mock goes to the shotgun on 1st down. West Virginia with that odd 3-man front. They come with 4. Mock with plenty of time. Down the middle and incomplete. Threw it right in the middle of 4 defenders, and Barnett couldn't hold it. To tell us about that West Virginia defense, here's Rich Rodriguez.
Up front, we're led by the big guy, Keelan Dykes at nose guard, surrounded by Scooter Berry and Johnny Dingle. At linebacker, we have the hardest working man in college football, Mark Magro, surrounded by 2 intelligent players, Reed Williams and Morty Ivy. In the secondary, in our 5-man secondary, the 3 safeties led by senior Eric Quicks, Ryan Mundy.
Well, 4 of them were back there on that one, and the pass would have still been completed if he could have caught it. Hand off to Ramsey, and Ramsey is just stuffed by Johnny Dingle, and he got a lot of help. It's West Virginia defense so much better than it was a year ago.
Absolutely. All their numbers are much improved. Now, run defense, they've been pretty solid over the last couple years. Pass defense last year is where they had major problems, 109th in the country. And we saw in that first play, Mike, Cincinnati is going to be aggressive. They feel they can attack this West Virginia down the field vertically. They had a man open the first play, just couldn't connect.
Mountaineers have been vulnerable in the middle, and that's where they went on 1st down. Now they face a 3rd and 13. Mock, who's very mobile, makes a nice move to get out to the 39-yard line, but about a yard shy of a 1st down.
It's a pretty good job by West Virginia, because when Ben Mock scrambles, different than Pat White, when he scrambles, he's looking to throw the football first. He's using his mobility to see if he can throw the football downfield. That time, West Virginia very disciplined in their downfield coverage against the scramble.
Kevin Huber, who has the best average in the country, 46-7 a punt, to the very dangerous return of Vaughn Rivers. And that one is a semi-shank out of bounds. To tell us about the Mountaineer offense, here's quarterback Pat White.
Man in his post on the left side of the Fab 5 is offensive lineman Ryan Stanchek. At receiver, we have Darius Winnard with super boings. Those are high jumps for those of you who don't know. And in the backfield, we have Steve Slayton and Owen Schmidt.
Very soft-spoken young man, but a good leader.
Yeah, don't let that soft-spokenness be misinterpreted for a lack of fire, because he is one competitive, tough guy. I mean, he's only about 185 pounds, but he is a tough quarterback.
White out of the shotgun. Slayton is the running back to his left. Both threats to take it the whole way anytime. Slayton on the stretch. Somehow turned the corner. Slayton's still on his feet, picked up 8 or 9. Take a look at that defense, and here's Nick Lachey.
On defense, the defensive line is bookended by Angelo Craig and Anthony Hope with 25 career sacks between them. The linebackers are led by Corey Smith and one of the best secondaries in the country, anchored by corner Mike Mickens, along with Haruki Nakamura at safety.
Our thanks to Nick Lachey for taking the time to do those lineups for us. Slayton just glided outside. Didn't look like much, still got 8 yards. White pulls it back on the keeper. Out to the 45-yard line, another first down. 2 runs that don't look like much, and they get 15 yards.
Well, the thing about this team is they just keep the pressure on you all the time. It starts with their no huddle. It starts with their getting to the line of scrimmage. Then it goes to their formations where they stretch the whole field. And then it's the speed of Pat White and Steve Slayton that just always puts you on edge.
Schmidt is in the backfield, number 35. He is the big 260-pound fullback. And Owen Schmidt will get a carry, just lowers his shoulder and pulls to midfield. Let's take a look at tonight's X Factor presented by Dell.
When you look at this game, I mean, to me, the key for West Virginia is they've got to squeeze the ball. The one game they lost at South Florida, 6 turnovers. They had 3 turnovers against Louisville last Thursday night, and it almost cost them. Cincinnati, they've got to squeeze the space. That means they must be aggressive in attacking Pat White when he carries the football.
If this offense doesn't turn it over, they get 40 on anybody. That's their average. Slayton on a bubble screen. Look out! That great speed takes him inside the 20. Middle linebacker Ryan Manilak finally got him. But downfield, the converted tight end Selvish Capers with a nice block and a 32-yard gain.
You're exactly right. Selvish Capers does a great job. Watch him get out in front of this. Steve Slayton is in motion. They've thrown the ball to him. That's the 20th catch now for him this season. Excellent blocking downfield by receivers and the tackle. And then Slayton's speed out in space makes the rest happen.
You can't get yardage like that without receivers blocking, and they are about as good as anybody with their wideouts throwing blocks. White on the option. Now he'll get a block from Slayton. Every time you think they're hemmed in, they still manage to turn the corner for about 5 more. Pat White makes things happen all over the field, especially down here.
Well, in the red zone, which is a game within the game, West Virginia is as good as it gets. I mean, you can see that 95% of the time they score, 50 of those time touchdowns, and that's because your quarterback is a runner. When your quarterback is a running threat, it makes your red zone offense that much more effective.
3rd in rushing in the nation, 10th in scoring. They are marching with the opening kick. Cincinnati shows blitz, backs out of it. Slayton inside the 10, dragged down by Andre Revels, who splits time with Manilak at middle linebacker. Rich Rodriguez, really the godfather of this offense, to spread the field and be able to run. He did it out of necessity when he started in small college ball at Salem and at Glenville State, small colleges in West Virginia. He didn't have the players to compete any other way. Quarterback keeper. That was a planned draw.
It was a planned draw, and that time Cincinnati, which has been primarily a zone pass defense this year, one of the changes in their defense, that time lined up in straight man here in the red zone to put an extra defender in around the line of scrimmage, anticipating Pat White running the football.
3rd and goal. White looking, or excuse me, 1st down and goal. White looking to the sideline for the play from Rich Rodriguez.
It's interesting the way they call plays. They'll call a play, Pat White will look to the sideline. He doesn't make a lot of checks at the line, but he makes a decision every time the ball is snapped what he's going to do with it.
White quickly out to Renaud. Renaud breaks the tackle inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. With all the other great athletes they have, Renaud, they say, is the best athlete on the team. That's scary.
Yeah, that is scary. Here's Pat White. Now he's looking to the sideline. They're subbing on this play because they're getting inside the 5. A lot of times they don't sub at all. They just go no huddle. Call the play from the sideline. And then Pat White, once the ball's in his hands, they have a lot of options, whether he keeps, whether he gives, whether he throws the bubble screen on a lot of their offensive plays.
Villagrana comes in as the tight end, and he replaces one of the wide receivers. White to Schmidt. The 260-pounder is in on the option.
And that was a real mix-up because normally it's Schmidt going inside on the dive, inside the 5, and Slayton is the pitch guy. They fooled him a little bit by switching the roles of Schmidt and Slayton.
How many times do you pitch it to a 260-pound fullback?
Who breaks face mask?
Yeah. A lot of them. So the Mountaineers take the opening drive, go 70 yards in 3:08. They made it look easy, just as they have against everybody all year long. And McAfee is on for the point after. 7-0 West Virginia, as Owen Schmidt gets his 3rd rushing touchdown of the season. ESPN's College Football Primetime is available on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. West Virginia fighting for respect at the top of the polls, hoping to win the Big East and get a national title shot. But Cincinnati hoping to ruin all that celebration and all that glory by taking the Big East title for themselves. Smith and Gilliard are deep. Smith from the goal line. Standing up at the 16-yard line, and he is buried by Bobby Hathaway. Back to the touchdown.
Well, again, now this is Slayton and this is Schmidt. Now, when Slayton dives in here, watch how much attention is paid to Slayton and Pat White. Fake to Slayton, and now right here, they've got White covered and they've got Slayton covered, but nobody is on Owen Schmidt out here. They got concerned with the 2 dangerous guys, and they let the big fella alone on the outside. Good mix-up, change-up of roles down on the goal line by West Virginia.
So Mock will start from his own 16-yard line. Short set and throws out in the flat, and he got the tight end, Connor Barwin. Brian Kelly is a guy who was, just with the force of his personality, has already had an impact on this program. Very entertaining to talk to. And you just get the feeling that he comes here with tremendous expectations for this program, and he's going to make some changes after this year when he can get a lot of his own kids in here too.
And I think he imposed those expectations on this team. He raised the bar of expectations for this football team. He inherited 19 seniors. He sold them. I think a big thing was he came and coached this team in the International Bowl on January 6th of last year. And I think that showed something to his seniors. He didn't change any of the terminology. He let them play their system, but he coached them in that bowl game.
4-man rush. Mock with time again over the middle, knocked away and incomplete. He has had 2 receivers open right down the heart of this defense, and he's hit both of them. Ryan Monday, the transfer from Michigan, dislodged that ball, but you can't blame Mock. These are perfect throws.
No, this is a cover 2 defense now. It used to be pretty much a single high safety, a lot of 2 safety now, and the vulnerable spot is down the middle. That's twice now Cincinnati has had a guy in that seam and has not been able to come down with the catch. You want to beat the number 6 team in the country, you need to make those kind of plays.
Now facing a 2nd and 10. Goodwin is the motion man. Ramsey on the handoff. He tries to get wide. Turns the corner, knocked out of bounds. This defense, number 10 against the run, or number 12 against the run, number 10 against the pass, the 4th total defense in all of college football.
I think part of that,
those are some pretty good numbers.
They're very good numbers, and part of it is they play an interesting scheme. It's called the odd stack defense, which is a 3-man down line, and they usually get a 4th guy in there, but you don't know where he's coming from. He could be a safety, he could be a linebacker, so they disguise their defenses very well out of this odd defense.
Mock Pressure coming. Mock throws again. Another receiver wide open. This time he's got the completion and got it to Dominic Goodwin, his 50th catch this season.
Well, he didn't go to his main guy the first two throws. This time he goes to Goodman, but they pick up the pressure. There's 5 men rushing for West Virginia. Mock hangs in there, finds Goodman on the sideline. Looked like a little mix-up in the West Virginia coverage because you don't want to turn 16 loose. He's their most dangerous receiver. You want to be accounting for where he is every play.
So Cincinnati trying to respond. They have reached the West Virginia 35. They like to run this hurry-up spread offense the same West Virginia does. Mock in trouble. Down he goes, and it was Mark Magro, the linebacker, coming on the blitz. That time they disguised it beautifully because he had a huge lane to come through.
Yeah, you're not sure where he's coming from. Here he is right here, and that's got to be the back picking him up. In this case, it's Jacob Ramsey coming in on coverage. He's going out. They're free releasing. Nobody picks up Magro. And tough for Ben Mock to get away from that one.
He's the 3rd leading tackler on this ball club. That was his 6th sack this year. And now West Virginia is going to have to use a timeout on defense. Timeout on the field. Early first quarter. West Virginia on top by a touchdown.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by GM's OnStar. You don't have to be a star to get the OnStar treatment.
The Mountaineers with an early 7-0 lead on Cincinnati. Aerial coverage of tonight's game courtesy of the Outback Steakhouse Airship Bloomin' Onion 1. The Outback Steakhouse aerial fleet specializes in coverage of sports. Look for the Bloomin' Onion 1 at sporting events throughout the year. Both of these teams very successful this year in the first quarter. West Virginia has the upper hand here, but Cincinnati on the move from the 39. Mock, plenty of time now forced out by Dingle. Mock, deep down the middle, incomplete. What a dangerous throw.
Yeah, very dangerous throw by Ben Mock, because not only was it back across his body to the middle, he just didn't have a whole lot on it. It was kind of floating to the middle, and usually something bad happens, but that one fell to the ground. Pretty good coverage downfield by West Virginia this time. A late throw to the middle. Could have actually been caught. That's the 3rd drop pass of the game so far for Cincinnati.
Mock has put up some terrific numbers this year. 21 touchdowns, only 6 picks. But you don't get those numbers by throwing the ball late back against the grain. Pressure comes. Mock trying to keep the play alive. Sidearms this one incomplete.
That was just a 3-man rush by West Virginia, and they forced Ben Mock out of the pocket. That's a good sign for West Virginia's defense. If they can get that kind of pressure with 3, then they can do a lot of combination coverage-wise in the back end.
One thing they were able to do against Louisville most of the night is hold them down with only a 3-man rush, and now the decision has to be made for Cincinnati at the 39. Do you go for it even though it's 4th and long, or do you punt it down deep?
I'm a little surprised they're going for it on 4th and 14. I'm not surprised they're going for it on 4th down. Now Brian Kelly's going to call timeout. I mean, I know he's got questions about his kicker, Jake Rogers, who is 8 for 15 on the season, but he may want to punt this football.
We invite you to join us for Monday Night Football. Monday night, the thin air of Invesco Field at Mile High. Vince Young will take the Titans into battle against Jay Cutler and the Broncos. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30 Eastern. Our coverage starts at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown, and now they are lined up to go for it again.
I think they're going to punt the ball, though. I think Mock's going to kick it.
His first punt of the year. And it turns out beautifully. As they'll down it just outside the 2-yard line.
He was a little deeper in the shotgun, and I saw them work on this in practice on Thursday. A very good strategy. Now, they kind of had to waste a timeout to make sure they wanted to do that, but that was definitely the right move by Brian Kelly. Now, hopefully, his defense can slow the West Virginia offense down a little bit.
You quarterbacks can do anything, can't you?
Well, a little bit better than fullbacks. You saw that punt from Owen Schmidt in their last game. Not quite as effective.
Did Joe Paul ever let you punt?
No.
No.
I punted in high school, though. I could.
Did you?
Yeah.
Mountaineers will start from their own 2. White under center this time. Then Slayton wedges out a yard. You referred to Owen Schmidt punt a week ago as he was trying one of the rugby kicks that West Virginia has used so effectively.
Well, they give him a run option, and he kind of got caught in between. Should I run it? Should I kick it? And he who hesitates is lost. And he almost lost a little more than that.
Well, they said he's broken 10 face masks. It looked like that was his 3rd forehead that he was working on. And that's not even mentioning the haircut. But you got to love this guy. Started at Division III. Nobody wanted him. White throws incomplete as his receiver Gonzalez fell down in the flat. But Schmidt drove around with a highlight tape of when he had played at Wisconsin Whitewater. He was a tailback there, not quite as big as he is now. And he got in the parking lot of Morgantown and said, these guys are huge. There's no way I can play here. Well, there's a 260-pound fullback saying other guys are huge.
And you look at those strength numbers. I mean, those are off-the-chart kind of numbers for a fullback. Also, power clean, 425 pounds, 8 times this past offseason. Just blew everybody away.
Big 3rd down here. White quarterback draw, nearly trapped in the end zone. Yeah, great job by the Cincinnati defense.
Big stop by the Cincinnati defense. Terrell Byrd, number 95, their leader on the defensive line, was not fooled on the quarterback run, and so everything worked out. The pooch punt by the quarterback, a 3-and-out, and now Ben Mock should get the ball back in excellent field position.
McAfee, who also doubles as the punter, will kick to Haruki Nakamura, who waits at his 40-yard line.
If you're Cincinnati here, you just don't want any foolish penalties. No roughing the punter, no blocking the backs.
Oh, what a kick. He just killed this thing. What a punt by McAfee.
And ordinarily, when you're that far backed up, you're only thinking catch it and kick it. Get it out of here.
And now there's a
yards.
Flag down at the end of the play. McAfee just hit a rocket off his foot, 71 yards. It's not going to be the school record. I think Todd Sauerbrunn had one that went 90.
Well, and here's the dumb penalty at the end of the play. You know, you stand to get good field position, but then McAfee just drills one. So he kicks at 71. Normally it's his catch and kick. It's almost a rugby kick, but he just nails it. And Nakamura not able to catch it on the fly because it's over his head. It goes out of bounds. And then there's a 15-yard personal foul penalty on Cincinnati on top of that. So now they start inside their own 15-yard line.
And Cincinnati has shot itself in the foot multiple times this year.
Yeah.
If that ball bounces straight, he might have an 85-yard punt.
My goodness.
He just killed it. He's got a tremendous leg as a place kicker. One of these days he's going to kick a 60-yarder. Now Cincinnati, expecting to have great field position, will start from its own 13. Mock with a shovel pass, nothing doing as Reed Williams, the middle linebacker, makes the tackle on Ramsey.
We'll talk a little bit more about this defense West Virginia runs, because they have been much, much tougher this year on both the run and the pass. It's different. It's an odd stack. There's a lot of teams that play with a 3-man front on 3rd down passing situations, but West Virginia does it every down. Jeff Castile, the defensive coordinator, loves this defensive system, and one of the things is it allows you to disguise and move people around and confuse the offensive line of where that 4th or 5th guy is going to come from.
They've done a much better job this year of disguising where that 4th and 5th guy is going to come from. Dingle putting on pressure. There's going to be a holding call as Dingle got away from his man, and Mock just throws it out of bounds. Dingle has really been an impressive pass rusher, and back to your point about 3 guys in the down line, when they only come with 3, he's still been able to get pressure.
Well, that's been a key for them this year. Johnny Dingle, 7 sacks on the season. Here he does a nice job just getting on an inside move, beats Khalil El-Amin to the inside and forces Ben Mock to leave the pocket. And when you can get pressure with 3, well, that gives you 8 guys to do a lot of different things disguise-wise with your coverage. Last week in their win over Louisville, they were able to, in the second half, pretty much rush 3 the whole second half. Now, Brian Brom still brought Louisville back thanks to some turnovers by West Virginia, but they were able to create enough pressure with 3. And Johnny Dingle, his play this season has been much more consistent, and that's really helped their defensive line.
And honestly, when you watch this offense operation, you wonder how you can beat them if they don't turn the ball over.
Well, everybody said coming into the year for West Virginia to have a chance to compete for a national championship this year, it was going to be about their defense. Their defense would have to be better than they were a year ago, and they are.
And they are. Mock from the 8. Fakes the screen left, goes back to the right. Ramsey breaks a couple of tackles, dodges a couple of other players. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, this West Virginia defense took it very personally last year when so many people were down on them. They knew they didn't perform well, and some of the players, Eric Wicks, Antonio Lewis, and Vaughn Rivers, put up in their dorm rooms a sign in their window that said 109. That was their ranking in defense to finish the season. They wanted to let people know they were accountable for what they were doing. They were trying to change it, and these guys have really done a great job doing it. Jeff Castile said, hey, everybody's much more accountable. This is a matter of pride for them to be better.
Holly, they've gone from 109 to number 10. Mock has to pull it down. Trying to get the first down with his legs, and Dingle, great hustle play by the defensive end who caught him from behind.
But you see why Ben Mock creates problems for your defense, because he's scrambling, he's looking to throw, but he knows what he needs for a first down as well. He's a tough kid. He won back-to-back state championships as a high school quarterback at Kenton High School, playing for his dad. He is a competitor, he's a winner, and when he makes plays like that, that's what's won over his teammates with him, is his competitiveness.
Mock on the roll to the right. Deep downfield has a man wide open. Barnett, the little wisp of a wide receiver, had 5 yards on the defense. It's a 70-yard touchdown. Great throw by Mock on the run.
Again, when Ben Mock scrambles, he scrambles first to throw and second to run. The play before, he decided to run to get the first down. That time, he decided to stay behind the line of scrimmage and make a play throwing it down the field. And make a play he did.
Barnett is 6'1", 165. That was his 9th touchdown catch. That's number 1 all-time by a first-year player at Cincinnati. And we are tied at Nippert, 7-7.
That was first down.
Celebrating in Cincinnati as they get a big touchdown after they had been pinned deep in their own territory to tie up this ball game with perhaps the Big East title on the line, at least for Cincinnati. It's an elimination game for them. UConn and West Virginia have only 1 loss. Cincinnati has 2. Rivers and Devine, the heralded freshmen, are deep. Devine up to the 39-yard line.
Go back and look at the touchdown. Now, this is Marcus Barnett. He's going to be running a seam route, but watch when Ben Mock scrambles, he adjusts with his quarterback on the scramble, which a good receiver will do. He's running kind of a clear-out seam route, but when he looks back and sees his quarterback scrambling, he adjusts to the outside and uncovers, and Ben Mock hits him perfectly in stride for the touchdown. Great job of adjusting by the wide receiver to his quarterback on the move, and what a throw on the run by Ben Mock.
Wasn't it? Wow. That thing was a frozen rope. Now White has to go back to work. Good field position to start with. Devine trying to turn the corner. Nothing doing. Flag is down. That looked like it's going to be a hold on Figner, the right guard.
And I think this is where you see with the Cincinnati defense, they felt that this is the first year that they've had the speed to match up with West Virginia. Now, you know, they don't have the speed necessarily to match up with Pat White and Steve Slayton man for man, but overall this is a very fast defense. They're undersized. They're not an overly big defense, but they can run.
That may be the wave of the future, too. As offenses get smaller and faster, defenses may have to get smaller and faster to play with them.
Well, the great equalizer in college football has become the spread offense, where you get fast, athletic guys and put them in space. And if offenses are going to play that way, you better find some fast, athletic guys to play defense in space as well.
After the holding call, 1st and 20. White with the fake, keeps it himself. Can't get outside, dragged down by the face mask.
Yeah. It was really a nice play by Anthony Hope, but he got a hold of the face mask as well. They had him backed up. They had him penned in. Well played by Anthony Hope. Just got a hold of that face mask in the process.
It looks like it could be the 15-yard variety.
Personal foul.
Yeah.
Face mask on the defense. Number 12. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic. First down.
Hope does a great job of keeping his leverage, but he just reaches up and then never lets go and uses the face mask to aid in the tackle. And when you see that head go down and then the player go to the ground, that's 15 yards every time.
How dangerous was that? Flipped him 360. The shame for Hoke is he made an excellent play. It looked like he could have made the tackle anyway. So 1st and 20 turns into an automatic first down. Schmidt getting tackled and shoved back after he picks up a couple. For the first time tonight, let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Mike, and we'll give you a quick look at what's going on between Oklahoma and Texas Tech. Taco Bell studio update. Early going, Graham Harrell, Lindy Holmes with the pick, and he is going to go off to the races. Not an easy return for a touchdown. Lindy had to make some moves, but he takes it home, and Oklahoma's up 7-0.
West Virginia 2nd and 7. Slayton. Nice cut.
Well, you see that Cincinnati defense run. They really can run. They run to the football. Joe Tracy is the defensive coordinator. And again, this is Brian Kelly and his staff's first year, but this defense played well at the end of the year last year. Mark D'Antonio, who's now at Michigan State, Patrick Narduzzi, the defensive coordinator. They were a pretty good defensive football team to end last year, and they picked up right where they left off this season.
They are particularly good against the run, 13th in the country, so it's strength against strength. Right on 3rd down, Slayton on the screen. Fighting for extra yards would be a couple short of a first down.
Earlier in the game, West Virginia hit him for a big play with that exact same play. The quick bubble screen to Slayton. They got linemen out in front, wide receivers blocking. That time, more black shirts getting to the football. Stop Slayton short of the first down to force a punt.
But West Virginia does multiple things with its punt team. You've already seen the rugby kick.
How do you rugby kick 171 yards?
I don't know.
But
it was impressive.
Well, this is different. You're right. They've got this is a severe spread punt look.
Just looking to see if somebody doesn't cover up the way they're supposed to. Another good kick.
Boy, great coverage too. Well executed.
They used their speed on special teams as well. 44-yard kick. College basketball on ESPN2 continues Monday night. Coverage of 2 tournaments. First at 7 Eastern, Maryland UCLA in the O'Reilly Auto Parts CBE Classic semifinals. Then at 9, the Tigers of Princeton against the Blue Devils of Duke in the EA Sports Maui Invitational. Both tournament games part of Feast Week presented by Lowe's. Nice place for a basketball tournament, Maui. Pretty tough to get them in the gym, though, I would think, to watch the game.
Don't the coaches like wear flowered shirts?
Yes, they do.
When they're on the
yes,
side
they
and
do.
all that stuff too. It's kind of cool.
Change in tailbacks. They'll go with the big guy, Greg Moore, 6'2", 228. Try to pound out some yardage and give them some room to operate. They have 4 guys that run the ball here at Cincinnati. Pretty much equal in their ability. Some do a little bit better than others in certain departments.
Good snap by Cincinnati. Both these teams are no-huddle type teams. That time West Virginia ready for it, and Johnny Dingle again with an alert play on the edge.
Let's check in with Reese Davis, the SportsCenter 30 at 30 update.
All right, Mike, the champions of the Big Ten, once again, the Ohio State Buckeyes. They go into the Big House, beat Michigan in the rain, 14-3. Tressel moves to 6-1 in his career against the arch-rival Wolverines. And apparently it was Lloyd Carr's final game as head coach at Michigan. He is expected to announce at a press conference on Monday that he's going to retire. SportsCenter after the game, ESPN News, can stay current.
Reese, thanks very much. Mock, quarterback keeper, tries to get to the outside, runs through an arm tackle.
Ball's loose.
Got away from Reed Williams, but then he coughed up the ball. And Ryan Monday, the safety from Michigan, pounced on it after Magro tore it out of there.
Ben Mock is fighting for the first down. He's got the ball secured right here, but as he's going for extra yardage, he just loses it. Magro knocks it out, and Mundy comes up with the football. Clearly a fumble and a huge break for the Mountaineer defense. Ben Mock was one of those guys who benefited from that rule where a guy could graduate and transfer if he had eligibility left. So was Ryan Mundy. Came from Michigan. That was both guys going at each other, and Ryan Mundy got the best of that meeting.
And both have had a major impact on their teams this year in what just everybody in football thought was a really good rule, but they rescinded it. People in other sports, I guess, were complaining about it. Slayton, nowhere to go. One of the reasons that Slayton's numbers are down this year, not only does he draw more attention because he had such a great year last year, but they have used him more as a receiver, so his numbers are automatically down.
His numbers are down because of that, and they're also down because of the way people have defended West Virginia this year. More teams have said, you know what, we're going to play more guys around the line of scrimmage, more man coverage, and force West Virginia to throw the football. That's taken away from Steve Slayton's numbers.
And the quarter will expire before West Virginia can get off another play. The Mountaineers trying to take advantage of a turnover. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels on campus at Cincinnati, where the Bearcats and the Mountaineers are tied at 7. West Virginia trying to take advantage of a fumble. They're at the Cincinnati 14-yard line. Raynaud in motion. White turns around and throws it to Raynaud. Excellent defense by Cincinnati. Gang tackling, no gain.
No, it's really great to be here and see this kind of support for UC football. My dad coached here in the early 70s. It's always been kind of a tough place to win, a tough place to draw the support. We were here last year, this same weekend, Ohio State-Michigan weekend.
Yep.
They upset Rutgers, the number 7 team in the country. At that time, the highest-ranked team they've ever beat, an even bigger crowd and more energy. And there was a real buzz in Cincinnati about this game tonight.
Could be the biggest crowd ever to watch a game here in this stadium. White on the run, throws. Raynaud can't catch it, and it's intercepted.
The 23rd interception of the season for Cincinnati. They lead the country. There was a flag down, but in the area you would expect holding against West Virginia.
And it was the 6th interception by Mike Mickens, the corner. It was a hold, and Cincinnati's defense comes up huge.
There was pressure by Adam Hoppel that forced Pat White out of the pocket. Number 67, a workmanlike defensive tackle, gets the pressure and forces Pat White out. Watch number 67 beat the left tackle, force White out of the pocket. Now he has to throw on the run. It's high, it's inside, and it's another interception for this opportunistic Cincinnati defense. So they overcome the turnover with a turnover of their own.
They've made a couple of huge turnarounds in this game. Mock got away, should have been sacked and wasn't. Throws, Barnett's wide open.
A late flag down by the catch also.
38 yards, and Mock has been terrific.
Yeah, and again, this is just a case of a quarterback eluding pressure and not losing his vision down the field and then finding a receiver who uncovers. Sideline warning on West Virginia. This is not a design play. This is not a timing route. This is a quarterback buying time and never losing his vision down the field. So when he gets some freedom, he's able to spot a receiver, Barnett, for the second time, adjusting to the quarterback on the move.
Well, Dingle thought he had him dead to rights, just whiffed. Dingle trying to catch some air. Cincinnati very impressive in the early going, making a comeback here. And it's the Jacob Ramsey, the tailback, gets a couple. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, after that Ben Mock fumble, I was over on the Cincinnati sideline, and their running back, Jacob Ramsey, who just had the carry, got in the face of his offensive lineman and was yelling at him. He said, "Don't get your heads down. We're just getting started here." He fired them up. He fired Ben Mock up. And, guys, there's a really good spirit on this sideline that they're not going to quit over here.
I think that spirit flows down from their head coach, Brian Kelly, and also from the quarterback, Ben Mock. These two guys are both gritty, competitive, charismatic guys.
Mock, play action. Throws off balance toward the sideline and incomplete. That was good defense by Monday as he came up against Barnett. Kelly, of course, stepping up after great success at both schools he's been before. Won a pair of Division II national championships at Grand Valley State, and then went to Central Michigan in 04, 05, and 06. Won the MAC title last year. And he's just one of those guys that people gravitate to. He'll be successful here.
Yep.
He's certainly a guy who knows what he wants to do. He's got a plan. Butler Benton, the new tailback, number 23. Big third down here. Mock. Quarterback keeper caught from behind. Fighting for yards, can't get it. Dragged down by Magro.
That's okay, though, for Cincinnati. I mean, this is a game you hope is a four-quarter game. Your defense has settled into the game. Now you have an opportunity with your punter to pin West Virginia back deep again and maybe make Rich Rodriguez a little more cautious with his play calling if it's inside the 10-yard line. You're playing field position right now to help your defense as well.
Huber to kick to Rivers. And they had a chance to down it inside the 5 and couldn't do it. They had done it before, but that special teams, that time, D'Angelo Smith could not make the play on a 44-yard punt. When we come back, Dr. Jerry Punch from Miami, his insight on Jimmy Johnson's historic run for the Cup.
Straight wins has Jimmy Johnson on pace for a second straight championship. Only Jeff Gordon can stop him. And with him in the hunt, this chase won't be over till the checkered flag drops in Miami. The race for the championship concludes tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
Now we're back. It's 7-7. West Virginia, Cincinnati.
I think West Virginia's got to try to throw the ball down the field.
Dr. Jerry Punch is going to join us from Miami in just a moment. He'll be covering, obviously, the Nextel Cup race tomorrow. Pat White picks up about 4. Jerry, glad you could join us, my friend. What's the perspective on Jimmy Johnson? He's had a great run here.
He really has, Mike. Jimmy Johnson has done something no other driver has done since 1998. He's won 4 in a row. And in this sport, that's be like a football team winning 4 consecutive bowl games on 4 consecutive weeks. And now he's got to get it done on the championship weekend here in Miami in front of what should be a sellout crowd and a lot of raucous energy like what you guys have in Cincinnati tonight.
You know, Jerry, I have a question. Don't know a whole lot about the NASCAR thing, but I did do some reading this week where, you know, with Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon being on the same team and their mechanics and their crews all working together and working on the cars together, how is it that one of the drivers or one of the cars is doing that much better than the other one during this stretch here?
It's a great question, Todd. It has a lot to do with the experience of the pit crews, the experience of the crew chiefs, and both teams are very talented, obviously, but you know, Chad Knaus, the crew chief for Jimmy Johnson, won a championship a year ago. Jeff Gordon's crew chief, very talented, sort of like a quarterback that has an experienced receiver that he can throw to. And Jeff Gordon has got experience there, but he's got a very talented rookie there. It's in his first championship calling the shots. And sometimes this has to do with how the cars are dialed into the racetrack. Jimmy Johnson has been almost unbeatable, as you say, and between the two of them, they've won the last 6 races in a row, so they have certainly owned this championship chase themselves.
Jerry, how about Dale Jr.? It's going to be, I would think, an emotional day for him.
It will indeed be, Mike. It's the last race that he will drive a car that is owned by the company his dad started, Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. He will walk away. He has won 1 race a year since 2000. He has not won this year. It will be his final chance to be able to give a win to Dale Earnhardt Incorporated prior to leaving after this race on Sunday night and moving to Hendrick Motorsports. So it will certainly be an emotional farewell for him and that whole team.
Jerry, you're the best, my friend. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to your call tomorrow on the race.
Likewise, guys. Thank you so much. I'm enjoying the call tonight. How about title implications and great energy there in Cincinnati? Big game for the Big East tonight.
Yes, it is, Jerry. And Jerry's such a great fan of college football. It was a great pleasure for me to be able to work with him in years past on college football. And as you just saw, White on 3rd and short goes with a quarterback keeper to get a first down in Cincinnati territory. White again on the option, this time behind Slayton. Somebody lost a helmet, and it's one of the Cincinnati linemen, Terrell Byrd.
We talked about defending Pat White, how important it is to squeeze the space, to not let him get going and play passive. You cannot play on your heels when he's running the football, and Cincinnati's doing a pretty good job of attacking him. When he pulls it to keep, they're flying at him. They're making him stop and start and kind of change directions, and that's what you have to do. You can't let him get ahead of steam going because he makes people miss too well when he's at full speed.
White got Schmidt out in the flat. That's a nice catch. Very nimble for a guy who's 260 pounds and wearing all the pads he can find to be able to turn around and make that catch and get 15 yards out of it.
Well, somebody made a mistake for Cincinnati because 2 guys came to the quarterback and nobody covered Owen Schmidt. It looks like Anthony Hoke may have been responsible. He's chasing at the end of the play, but a pretty tough catch by a big guy. That was thrown on his back shoulder. He's able to get around, make the catch, and turn upfield.
Schmidt will get a carry this time. And on that last play, just what you want to see if you're a 180-pound corner is Owen Schmidt come rumbling at you. Let's go to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, you've seen Owen Schmidt just catch a pass and then just run the ball. And the reason Rich Rodriguez said, hey, we just don't want to take him off the field. We actually taught him some other positions this year. He's lined up at receiver, at tight end, at slot back, halfback, fullback. He's one of our best players. We want to keep him on the field. And, guys, he's doing it all for them.
He's fun to watch, Holly. West Virginia driving. They've been held down pretty much since the opening drive by Cincinnati's defense. Roy Nott got to the 20, then pushed back. Gained only a couple. They need to reach the 15 for a first down.
West Virginia started out very explosive looking on offense. moved the ball down the field on their opening possession for a score, and then the last 3 drives, only 8 yards in 9 plays. This drive, back with some success moving the football, but a questionable spot on that last play brings up a 3rd and 7 situation for him right now.
Looked like they lost 2 yards on the spot, if not more. You saw Rich Rodriguez shaking his head. White got a gun for an arm and throws complete inside the 10-yard line. Jock Sanders, the freshman, made the catch.
And that was the first time that West Virginia has thrown the ball down the field. Everything else has been a swing pass or a little bubble screen. This time Pat White sticks his foot in the ground and throws the skinny post down the field to one of those freshmen, Jock Sanders, who is really developing as a West Virginia wideout. You've got Jock Sanders, you've got Brandon Hogan, both true freshmen, working more and more in the offense along with Noel Devine.
Sanders is already, or is also, the number 3 tailback, but when you've got Slayton and Devine in there, you're not going to get a whole lot of work, so they want to make him a wide receiver. Lamont Nelms made the tackle there as it was a planned sweep by Pat White.
Darius Reynaud got up off the pile, limping a little bit after that play. Looks like he's favoring his ankle.
12th play of this drive.
They got a big, tall receiver out to the slot to the wide. Might try to throw a fade out there.
White rolls that way. Schmidt's wide open. White's going to run it himself. Touchdown. Well, he had 2 choices. The safest choice was to take it himself. He could have tossed it to his fullback, Schmidt. There wasn't anybody within 10 yards of him.
Well, Wes Lyons, number 4, is a 6'8" receiver. They ran him to the corner. He took one guy with him, and he had Owen Schmidt as the underneath receiver, and then Schmidt just became the blocker for Pat White.
McAfee for the point after. And the Mountaineers are back on top, 14-7. Rich Rodriguez and Pat White, what a combination they have been.
ESPN's College Football Primetime. Brought to you by Clean Exchange, the only electric shaver with a disposable head. Clean Exchange, new from Remington. And Suzuki Automotive and the all-wheel drive SX4 crossover.
Welcome back to a sold-out Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. Here is tonight's trivia question. Pat White is the active career leader in rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. He has 36 now. Who's the all-time leader in the FBS? That's formerly Division 1A. We will give you the answer later on. White now with 36. Heaven knows what kind of a record he can set. He's got a year and a fraction of a season to go. Gilliard, this time from the 4. Has the seam. Gilliard took it out to the 35, nearly broke it for a lot longer than that before Charles Pugh made the tackle.
When you play Pat White, you must be disciplined. Now, these two guys, Delbert Ferguson, the linebacker, Lamont Nelms, number 10, the defensive end, both come too far inside on the play fake. And once Pat White gets you in this position out on your perimeter with a blocker, it's lights out. I mean, it's touchdown. You must stay disciplined and maintain your leverage against him every single play because he has too much speed and too much ability to make you miss in the open field to beat you if you don't.
Speaking of rushing touchdowns, Tim Tebow has 20 this year. Mock on the run. Will not slide. Takes a shot from Vaughn Rivers.
Well, Ben Mock is not the speed threat that Pat White is. And when he scrambles, he's looking to throw first, but he's not afraid to run. I mean, he played in a spread offense since he was a freshman in high school. I mean, when he played for his dad, it was a very innovative spread passing offense, but he ran the ball a lot from the quarterback position. He went to Wake Forest. It was kind of an option offense for him when he was the starting quarterback. And he comes here, and Brian Kelly knows he's the right guy to run this offense. It's interesting when when Brian Kelly offered him a scholarship, they weren't sure if he would even be able physically to play because he hadn't thrown the ball yet. And Brian Kelly said, look, the worst case scenario to me was he's a guy who knows how to run the spread. And the worst case is I've got somebody that can teach my other guys how to play quarterback in the spread. Well, the best case scenario worked out. Not only did he get healthy, he won the job, and he's played extremely well.
Gilliard is the player shaken up. I thought it was a great explanation by Kelly. He was doing something, bringing back a guy who was a local star here. I mean, the star of stars in high school. The numbers he put up in high school football were just ludicrous. They all look like misprints. They're so big.
And what was it, 76 touchdowns as a senior?
As a senior. 76 touchdowns and 6,540 yards.
Yeah.
That's in 1 year. Mock on another half roll. Guns this one complete down to the 31-yard line. A rare catch for Antoine Giddens, who's getting some more playing time late in the year. But they have found some open receivers in that West Virginia secondary.
Well, and it's the mobility of Ben Mock to get outside the pocket and throw from different spots, and he throws equally well on the move or in the pocket. This one again to the sideline. Big hit at the end of the play by Wicks, but Giddens holds on to the football.
Cincinnati trying to respond to West Virginia's second touchdown the way they did to the first. Mock on the screen, flanker screen to Barnett. And the little guy trying to make a move, ran out of one tackle and is blasted out of bounds. Holly Rowe has more on Mock.
Well, guys, Ben Mock told us that he didn't even really know Brian Kelly last December and in January when he was with Wake Forest down at the Orange Bowl. But he said, I just was so appreciative of the opportunity he was giving me. He said, I sent Coach a text during the game, and I said, you don't know me yet, but I'm going to take you to the Orange Bowl next year, Coach. And, hey, they might have a shot. They're still in the Big East race, guys. A lot of moxie from Ben Mock.
Got to like the confidence level, don't you? 2nd and 5. They tried to get it on the ground. Almost no success so far tonight against that front. Jacob Ramsey got maybe one.
But if you're Cincinnati, you have to keep running the football. You can't get into a situation where you're completely one-dimensional. Even though West Virginia has played you pretty tough running the football, you've got to keep them honest. You've got to keep trying to run the football and be balanced.
Mountaineers give up only 94 yards a game. That's in the top 12 in the country as far as rushing defense is concerned. Big third down here, 3rd and 4. Greg Moore, the new tailback. Mock with time.
Nope. Dropped the ball. Goodman had it. It was a big hit at the point of the play.
Ruled incomplete, and the hit came from Quentin Andrews, the corner.
Ball hung in the air a little bit. Goodman trying to come down with it. Wow, that could have been a helmet-to-helmet. Should have been a helmet-to-helmet hit on Goodman.
What a shot.
I mean, he's coming down with the ball. Man, big-time hit by Quentin Andrews, but...
well, that's 3 catchable balls.
Yeah.
Big, deep passes.
You can forgive a guy on that one, though, taking a shot like that. The other ones, there was no hit on the drops.
Jake Rogers, who has struggled all year with accuracy on place kicks, crushed that one. There's no problem with his distance. He can make them from a half a mile away. It's been the accuracy. 8 out of 15 before that one, but he converts and it cuts the lead to 4. Back in Cincinnati, where number 6 leads number 22. Basically an elimination game for the Bearcats of Cincinnati. West Virginia trying to stay alive not only for the Big East Championship, but for a shot at a national title. And West Virginia controls its own destiny. Cincinnati, this would be the 4th time they have beaten a top 25 team and the highest ranked team they would have ever beaten. Devine, he of blazing speed, takes it from the 5. Gets out to the 26. Take a look at our game track. If you joined us late, Pat White on the option to the big fullback Owen Schmidt for the first touchdown of the ball game, and then Ben Mock with a great throw on the run for the tying touchdown. That made it 7-7. The Mountaineers answered quickly. Pat White behind Schmidt on the rollout for a touchdown, and then we just had the field goal for Cincinnati that made it a 4-point ball game. Plenty of time to go in the half. Got to hand it to Cincinnati's defense. They have held West Virginia down quite well so far. White. How did he avoid that and throws a perfect strike downfield to Jala? Just a little shake of the shoulder, and Anthony Hoke, who leads the Big East in sacks, went whizzing past.
Yeah, this was Houdini-like by Pat White. He's got him dead to rights. He just sidesteps him and then delivers a strike down the field. I mean, that's a quarterback making a play when there's no play there. We've seen Ben Mock show some ability to get away from pressure. Pat White showed it right there.
We've heard more than one coach that they've played say he can just make you look silly. White on the run. Inside the 40 to the 39. Here's Reese Davis.
Mike, the studio update brought to you by the DVD release of Live Free or Die Hard. Yippee-ki-yay, Oklahoma, said Michael Crabtree. Watch this spectacular run. He was ruled out of bounds on the 1. Texas Tech's up 13-7. Sam Bradford, guys, has left this game after making a tackle on a fumble.
Reese, are we surprised?
Yeah.
Nothing can surprise you these days. Oregon loses on Thursday night, number 2. Oklahoma's what, number 3 this week? White, nice fake to Slayton. Dives down to near the 35-yard line, enough for a first down. Let's go to Holly.
That whiff on Patrick White. Rich Rodriguez told us one of the reasons he made up the spread offense in the first place is he said, you know, I just kept going back to how hard it was to tackle that kid in the backyard. You're going one-on-one against a guy. And he said, that's basically what my spread offense is. He said, that's the hardest play to make in football. You remember trying to do it in the backyard as a kid? Seems to be working out pretty well for him at West Virginia.
Holly, if they're choosing up in the backyard and I've got first choice, I'm taking Pat White. Fake to Slayton. White keeps behind Schmidt and Slayton. Well, he just explodes.
Well, again, he's a guy that if you give him space, if you give him a crease, he's going to get through that space so quickly because he has great speed and great vision. This is too easy. I mean, he's got Owen Schmidt lead blocking. There's no leverage by the Cincinnati defense on that play. Completely out of position. And Pat White, we asked Rich Rodriguez, are you concerned about him running so much at 185 pounds? He said, well, most of the time when he gets hit, it's usually down the field by smaller guys, defensive backs. That was a perfect example.
White again. And I think this is a nice adjustment by West Virginia. Instead of going so much to the perimeter, they're attacking the center of that defense and having much more success with it.
And a lot of it is Pat White being able to read it. I mean, he's got the opportunity to go a lot of different ways. That's why we talked about, you know, Rich Rodriguez is calling the plays, and he'll call them at the line of scrimmage. But once the ball is snapped to Pat White, it's his ball game, and it's his decision of where he's going to run, what crease is open for him.
Under 2 minutes to go in the half. West Virginia marching behind White. Schmidt's open. He throws downfield. Darius Renaud to the 5. It'll be 1st and goal, Mountaineers. Boy, he has 2 options on that play. He's got Schmidt out there short and one of the wide receivers deep, and he just picks who's open.
And he's got a 3rd option, and that is he can run it if he doesn't like either one of the first 2 options. And again, you know, Pat White, I don't think he gets as much credit as he deserves for how well he throws the football. I was at practice Wednesday, and I watched him throw in the rain, and he threw the ball extremely well. Now, they didn't catch it all the time, but he put the ball where it was supposed to be the majority of the time.
9 out of 11, 106 yards passing so far for White. He's rushed for 70 in the first half. Slayton, maybe a yard, and that's all.
Number 10, Steve Slayton, the ball carrier.
Got a chance to spend a little time with Pat White after practice on Wednesday, and I was so impressed with him as a young man. I mean, just a very, he is soft-spoken, but he's very articulate. He's very intelligent, very aware of things. You could tell the respect that the other players on his team have for him. 3rd year as a starter, and he just runs this offense with tremendous effectiveness.
White, quarterback sweep, walks in. Great blocking on the perimeter. Left tackle Ryan Stanchek and fullback Owen Schmidt just moved everybody into the end zone.
Well, you said it, Mike. They've been running inside. Now they go outside, and look how they secure that edge with Stanchek and also the big fullback Schmidt again. An easy touchdown for Pat White. They run inside, they run inside, they run inside, then they go outside for the easy 6.
They moved the line of scrimmage from the 4-yard line to 2 yards deep in the end zone. McAfee for the point after. The answer to our trivia question. Pat White is the active career leader in rushing touchdowns by a quarterback. He now has 36. Make that 37. He just changed it. Does that change the answer? I don't think so. Who's the all-time leader in the FBS? That's formerly Division 1A. Do you know?
No.
Well, you do now.
No, I do, yeah. Figured it had to be an option guy, Eric Crouch at Nebraska, but Pat White, eligible to come back for another year as a senior next year. He might approach that record. The really impressive thing about that drive, they had been kind of stymied for a couple drives, and now they take a nice time-consuming drive, and right within the last minute of the first half, stick another touchdown in to go up 11 on Cincinnati. That was a very tough touchdown for Cincinnati to give up right before the half.
Well, they're 3rd in the country in rushing. They're 10th in the country in scoring. And you saw the adjustments they made on that drive. They took a different tack and just really stuffed it down Cincinnati's throat. It's an offensive machine.
You know, they feel like they don't have to have dominant offensive linemen, but they've got to be able to get a hat on a hat. Boy, they got hats on hats in that drive.
Yep. High short kick taken by D'Angelo Smith. And Smith hit initially by Pugh and taken down. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, Mike, coming up on the Pontiac Performance halftime report by Monday, could it be that Michigan will be shopping for a new ride if Lloyd Carr decides to hang it up? The SEC East down to 1 game. We'll tell you how it all shakes out in a potential big upset brewing in the Big 12 that could shake up the national championship picture and maybe make West Virginia fans very happy if they can finish the deal in Cincinnati, Mike.
Well, Reese, they were very happy on Thursday night when Oregon went down, although all of us were very sad to see a fine young man get hurt and have his season ended. Dennis Dixon is as good a kid as you'll find, and certainly an outstanding quarterback, and our hearts go out to him that his season is over. There was a penalty on this kick return right at the end.
D'Angelo Smith, who returned that kickoff, is still down. Number 6.
See if we can show you what happened.
Watch the end of play. Watch number 15. That's Charlie Pugh. As he's getting up, well, there's a little kick and a step. He was stepping on his ankle, and actually D'Angelo Smith is the guy that's going to get the penalty for kicking.
First down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, that's probably a good call.
Yeah.
Did you see the step on the ankle?
No call for that.
Yeah. No call for that. No call for trying to kick back. And
I don't know. Somebody steps on me, I'm going to kick him.
Rebound. It's good to put in my memory bank. I won't ever try to step on you here.
No, you could get away with it. What good does it do me to kick you? Let's see what Cincinnati can do with 27 seconds if they choose to do anything. Mock wants the screen and gets it to Ramsey, and Ramsey is spun out of bounds.
Mock's pass complete. Number 20, Jacob Ramsey.
J.T. Thomas, very promising freshman linebacker, made that stop.
Just take a look at Pat White and Steve Slate. Just two guys that both have a humility about them. They both have a relationship where they work together, get along together, live together now. That is, I think, is one of the real special relationships in college football. They've shared the stardom for this West Virginia offense.
Mock under pressure, and down he goes. The sack goes to Magro, his second of the evening. And in a time when so many athletes are ego-driven, it's really nice to see. When either one of them scores, they hand the ball to the official, trot off the field.
It's a tough way for the half to end for Cincinnati. You know, you made the point that they have done pretty well defensively against West Virginia, and I think they had up until that last drive. They had really accounted for themselves very well in this ball game. They were right in it. They were down by 4, and that last drive, they just got blown off the football all the way down the field.
Isn't that the problem with playing this offense? When you think you've got them, they go to something else, and they've got the ability to score. They've done it to everybody all year long.
Well, you mentioned they're number 3 in the country in rushing. That's behind only Navy, which is a triple option team in Arkansas that has Darren McFadden and Felix Jones and can't throw the ball very well.
Mock could be the last play of the half over the middle and incomplete. Clock will stop with 3 seconds to go, looking for Goodman. They've hurt West Virginia in the secondary in this first half, but only have 10 points to show for it.
I think when they go into the locker room, Brian Kelly and Jeff Quinn, their offensive line coach, will sit this offense down and say, look, we've got guys open in the passing game. We can make plays throwing the football. We've got to protect Ben Mock, and we've got to catch the football. You can't come in and beat a highly ranked team as good as West Virginia if you drop the football. And they had 4 or 5 drops in this first half that have really hurt them.
When you get the opportunities, you're not going to get all that money. You have to take advantage. Mock flushed. Unloads. Jump ball down the middle and incomplete. That was a good job by Ryan Mundy. They say you're supposed to knock the ball down, not try to pick it. He had an easy pick, and he said, no, I'm going to do the right thing. Knocked it right to the ground. So West Virginia will go to the locker room with a 21-10 lead on Cincinnati. And the offense finally came out of its shell in the first half, late in the first half with that last drive. Let's go to Holly.
Coach, your defense had really held up well in the first half, but what did West Virginia do differently on that last drive to take advantage of you?
They got the ball outside. They ran nakeds and, got the perimeter on us, and we've got to get our players outside, and we got to bring a little bit more pressure off the edge.
You've actually outgained them offensively here in the first half. How do you translate that to points?
Well, we turned it over, and obviously you turn it over against a good football team. That's why we're down 21-10. But we're playing hard. We got to obviously play better defensively. I think we can move the ball a little bit, but we've got to be able to slow them down a little bit.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you, Holly. 21-10, West Virginia over Cincinnati at the half. Let's join Reese Davis for the.
You're watching ESPN's Rivalry Week, presented by Remington.
And West Virginia dropped the boom on Cincinnati 3 times in the first half. They lead at 21-10. Here are our first half stats. Interesting, Todd, that Cincinnati still outgaining West Virginia 247-231.
Yeah, they really played pretty well in the first half, except for right at the end. And that's where the game kind of slipped away right at the end against West Virginia. Pat White took advantage of a little bit of a relaxation on the Cincinnati defense. And that's why I think now, this first possession of the third quarter, West Virginia gets a football. Cincinnati's defense has to really rise up and make a stop.
When Cincinnati gets the ball back, do you see them coming out and trying to attack downfield? That was what they wanted to do when the game started.
I think they have to. I think West Virginia's still playing a lot of that cover 2. There's some seams down the middle of the field or out on the sideline. They just got to do a better job of catching the football.
All right, Cincinnati will have to kick it away to start the third quarter. Mountaineers are up 21-10. And they're listening for scores to be announced as well, with Oklahoma losing. Devine upended. Spilled as he got over the 15-yard line, and Pat White. First half.
Yeah, had an excellent first half. He did what he does, and that's run. He ran for 2 touchdowns, 74 yards. He also completed 9 of 11 passes. A lot of them were short throws that got out of his hand quickly. But you just can't relax against the guy. I mean, he's got too much speed as a runner. He plays with poise. He plays with confidence. And right there at the end of the first half, he really made his presence felt.
Already has 180 yards in total offense first half.
Very important drive right here for Cincinnati. They had a chance to regroup, meet with their defensive coordinator, Joe Tracy, the defensive staff. We heard Brian Kelly tell Holly they needed to do a better job of coming off the edge, getting a little more pressure off the edge. A little tangle in the chain there.
It was down to about 7 yards. That would make it a little easier to get a first down.
I thought it was funny. Rich Rodriguez was telling us the other day, and I'm sure Brian Kelly would say the same thing. Both these coaches like no huddle. They like up tempo. They don't like the game to slow down. And both of them feel like, you know what? Those guys that work the chains, they got to get in a little better shape for us. We need guys that work the chains that are referees to be in better shape so we can play faster.
But we have to get the chain in better shape, too. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, speaking with Rich Rodriguez at the half, ironically, he said that they have to get in more of a rhythm and a better tempo. He said that's what they changed on that last drive that seemed so successful for them. He said we executed and we had tempo. But defensively, he said they've done a very poor job on quarterback scrambles by Ben Mock. He said when we don't contain the quarterback, our DBs have to lock onto guys. When he's scrambling, he's been dangerous, and that's the biggest thing that's hurt them.
All right, Holly. They're still working.
How does that happen? I mean, how does that happen? I mean, what did they do with the chains during the band performance at halftime that created this problem? I don't understand that. I mean, did they...
Well, you don't want to call these guys over to your house to help decorate the tree.
No.
They're not going to be able to get the lights on it.
Or set up your VCR. Or DVD player. I guess I don't even have VCRs anymore.
I do. It blinks 12. Always has.
Is it alive?
No, but the extension cords are. And see, I told you about chains, too.
Yeah.
They're like extension cords.
Yeah.
After a really silly delay, we'll start from the 17-yard line. Slayton and Schmidt beside White. White on the keeper. He just makes people miss so effortlessly.
Well, part of that is vision. I mean, if you want to be a great runner, an open field runner, you've got to have great vision. And Pat White has that kind of vision. He knows where the defenders are, and it's just a little stop and start. I mean, you can't fault Anthony Hoke. He was in the right position. He kept leverage, but he couldn't make the play.
That's the third time he has reached out tonight for Patrick White and got nothing but air.
I know he's skinny, but I didn't know he was invisible.
White, quick throw to Reynaud. Swarmed under as he got to the 30. And that's enough for a first down. D'Angelo Smith up from the corner, and Angelo Craig, number 82, chased it down from defensive end.
Angelo Craig is an interesting guy. He came to Cincinnati as a wide receiver. He's got great speed, and his stock has really started to rise this year as a defensive end. He's 6'5", 245 pounds with 4.5 speed. He's got a future as a defensive end in the NFL because he's got that speed off the edge.
Slayton.
There he is right there, chasing the play from the backside. You see the closing speed of a pretty big athlete. There's D'Angelo Craig coming from the backside, a flat course to the football, and just closes on it. I mean, I'm sure Steve Slayton is not used to be tackling from behind by a defensive lineman.
Pretty good job for a guy who's in his first year as a starter. Second and 8. White straight ahead. A lot of times this is a very simple offense. Snap it to Patrick White, and he runs straight ahead. Rich Rodriguez has been visited by some of the most respected coaches in the country in the offseason, and they try to pick his mind about this spread offense. This is the thing now in college football.
And not just college guys. Norm Chow came from the Tennessee Titans because he's got a quarterback in Vince Young who's a mobile guy as well.
Pressure on White. What a great fake. Gets out of bounds. Just a little shake of the hip, and people literally fall on their face trying to chase this guy down.
Well, if you break this offense down, the spread offense, when they run the football, it comes down to three basic premises. Number one is numbers. They want to run to the side of the defense that has the fewer numbers. All running games do that. Angles. Where's the best blocking angles for our linemen? And grass, number three, is if all things are equal, we want to run to the wide side of the field. Get our speed running to the open side of the field.
Another first down for the Mountaineers at their own 45. White dives forward for about 4. Terrell Byrd, number 95, made another tackle. Let's check in with Holly.
Well, guys, I love the story of how Rich Rodriguez actually kind of invented the spread. It was a complete accident. He was at Glenville State. He knew he wanted to run the shotgun, and he knew he wanted to run a 2-minute drill out of it. But one day his quarterback there just forgot to hand off. That's how he got that zone read on the defensive end, and everything blossomed from there. It was an accident.
Well, sometimes the best thing that happened is looking at it from a different perspective, and accidents will do that. Slayton, nice move on his part to get to the outside, and Slayton on a play that could have lost a couple of yards picks up 3 or 4. Rodriguez did not have the benefit that other coaches have had of taking a look at somebody who ran this offense. No. He had to do it by trial and error, so there were a lot of mistakes, but he was successful every place he went.
And he's done it differently everywhere he's at. When he was at Tulane, he had Sean King, who was an accurate thrower, but a 4.8 40 guy. Wasn't a speedster like Pat White. At Clemson, he had Woody Dantzler, who was a good thrower and a good runner, and he was able to incorporate more of the quarterback run stuff. And now with Patrick White at West Virginia, a lot of quarterback run is a part and parcel of this offense.
3rd and 2. White throws for it, incomplete. Gonzalez had to dive for it and couldn't make the catch. The Mountaineers are going to have to punt it away.
That was a big stop right there by the Cincinnati defense. They needed to get a stop on that drive. They forced the throw on 3rd down. Not so sure Pat White wouldn't have been able to maybe pick that up if he'd have kept it on the outside on that rollout. But Cincinnati is going to get the football back.
McAfee to kick it away. He had that tremendous 71-yard shot off the rugby kick. Nakamura, who's a pretty good kick returner, back at the 10-yard line. Low line drive kick. Nakamura has to let it go inside the 10.
I think it hit a West Virginia coverage man a little bit before they covered it, marking it down at about the 14.
Pat White is on Todd's short list for the Heisman. When we come back, we'll find out who else made it.
We're back at historic Nippert Stadium as I take a look at my short list of Heisman candidates. A couple sophomores, a couple juniors, all quarterbacks. Tim Tebow of Florida became the first quarterback in history to go 20 touchdown passes and 20 rushes in the same season. Pat White, of course, taking a big step forward tonight. Todd Reesing and Chase Daniel, a couple guys in the Big 12. They'll square off next week in Kansas City. Of course, Dennis Dixon was on that list, but the knee injury kind of takes him out of it, unfortunately, because he was having a great year.
Cincinnati with no success on the ground. Jacob Ramsey is mugged as he gets the carry on 1st down.
Just going back to the Heisman thing, I mean, it's been an interesting year because it's still wide open. I mean, it's going to go all the way down to the final weekend of the season, just like this whole season has been. The whole season is going to go down to December 1st. The games that are decided, you know, who's going to play in the national championship, we're not going to know any of that until that last weekend.
It's really been a reflection of the season itself.
Yeah.
Mock is going to take it on a quarterback draw, and Morty Ivy made the tackle along with Magro. It's interesting how some guys have shown up in the Heisman race for a couple of weeks, and then their team plays so badly in an upset, they're gone. Or like Dennis Dixon, he gets hurt, and that probably crippled his chances.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, again, he was probably the front runner, quite honestly. And if Oregon would have and if he stays healthy, I don't think there's any way Arizona beats them in that game the other night. But neither one happened.
3rd and 5 for Mock under pressure. Throws to the sideline. What a throw! What a catch!
On the move, just what Rich Rodriguez said we've got to do a better job of containing that quarterback when he scrambles, and he threw a perfect throw to Dominic Goodman on the sideline.
Oh, what a grab.
Wow. Dominic Goodman was an outstanding high school quarterback, played at Coleraine High School, won a state championship. Here's a crazy formation for Cincinnati.
Going to try to make something out of a trick play. They throw for Barnett. He's covered by Reed Williams, and the middle linebacker.
The line never moved. Johnny Dingle's asking the Cincinnati sideline, what was that? What are you guys doing here? The whole line is over here. Now, none of those guys are going to move. Here's the center snapping to the quarterback. Actually, it's the tight end, I think, snapping to the quarterback. Ernest Jackson, number 14, he snaps and goes out. This is like something you draw up in the backyard.
I saw this in high school.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You mean when you played, or what do you mean you saw it in high school?
I saw it in high school. Right down the middle of Barnett again between 4 defenders.
Well, we saw that the first play of the game for Cincinnati, but they dropped it. This time, Barnett hangs on to it in a whole bunch of traffic. Down the middle against cover 2. That's a soft area. West Virginia's in position, but the linebacker, Reed Williams, number 47, didn't know where the football was, and Ben Mock threw a perfect throw. And then his receiver, Barnett, held on to it when he got pummeled at the end of the catch.
Barnett, 4 catches, 149 yards. And Mock has really been impressive. Wants to throw again. This time goes out in the flat. Barnett makes a move to get away. Cuts back inside. Drilled as he got inside the 20.
I got to tell you something about this Barnett. Now, he's listed at 6'4", I don't know, 175 pounds. He's 155, 160 soaking wet. I'm at practice Thursday, and it is freezing here. And he's in shorts and a T-shirt and his shoulder pads and jersey. Everybody else has got sweats on. They got gloves. He's out there, 165, 70 pounds in T-shirt and shorts. Like, this guy is not right.
He's got some skill, too, and they throw for him again. He is wide open, and they are just torching the secondary again.
Little combination route, and Barnett comes out on the sideline. It's a little wheel route and a hitch to draw the coverage up, and Ben Mock is right on it. I mean, he's seeing it, and he's putting the ball where it needs to be.
How are guys this open?
I can't answer that.
Greg Moore has checked in as the running back. Spot the ball at the 7. Mock wants to throw again. It takes off, lost the ball. And the Mountaineers got it.
Boy, what a costly turnover for Ben Mock. His second fumble of the ball game. They had great momentum. Their strength this year has been turnover margin, one of the best in the country, the best in the Big East, forcing turnovers and protecting it on theirs. He dropped that before the defense even got to him.
He was trying to shift it away from Keelan Dykes. Dykes pounced on the ball.
Yeah, he just tried to put it away. Dykes didn't even get a hand on it, but Dykes comes up with the fumble recovery for West Virginia.
That is a monster turnover. They really had the momentum going with that passing game.
Yep.
So West Virginia takes over now at its own 13. Devine, the freshman. Check in with Reese.
Mike, it's been a theme all year. Top 5 teams losing to unranked teams, and number 4 Oklahoma in a world of trouble in Lubbock. Texas Tech scores again. Graham Harrell, Eric Morris, they are not yet at halftime, and the Red Raiders are up by 20.
Yikes. 27-7? It is great for West Virginia. They were celebrating after Oregon won on Thursday night. Now 2 of the top 4 going down in front of them. Another step closer to a national championship shot if they can win the next 3 weeks. They play Connecticut next week, Pitt the week after that. Both of those are at home.
Another team that's pretty happy with that possibility is a team just a couple hours up the road in Columbus. Ohio State
gets them back in it, doesn't it?
Right back in the mix.
They'll need a little more help, but not much more.
You're right.
And boys, there have been help galore this year. Every time teams need 3 people above them to lose, they do.
Another big 3rd down for the Cincinnati defense. Can they respond after the turnover?
You can't leave this defense out there forever. They're going to get torched. And this pass complete to Jalla. Let's take a look at the ESPNU All-State standings. You'll see what we're talking about as far as those upsets. LSU maintains number 1. Oregon out of the championship picture after the loss. Oklahoma is losing. West Virginia, Missouri, and Kansas would be the biggest beneficiaries. But remember, Kansas and Missouri have to play each other, and the winner of that has to play Oklahoma. So the Big 12 could knock itself right out of it. First down, Mountaineers at the 27. Slayton to the 34. Ball came out, but after he was down, and he was stopped by Cedric Tolbert, the backup strong safety.
You know, we really talked about, when we talked about this game, we felt like the only chance, or the best chance that Cincinnati would have in this game is if they could force turnovers. When West Virginia doesn't protect the football, that's when they've had problems this year. Well, it's been the Cincinnati turnovers that have really hurt their cause tonight. You can't play a team as good as West Virginia and give away opportunities and give away the football, and that's what they've done so far tonight.
White straight ahead. No, you're not going to stop them all the time. And if you give them extra possessions, you're just asking for it. Here's Holly.
Well, guys, a lot of emotions roiling on this Cincinnati bench right now. Ben Mock sitting on the sideline, very quiet and trying to explain to his backup quarterbacks what went wrong on that. He keeps shaking his head. He thinks maybe he lost the ball while he was trying to do a juke move, and he just keeps shaking his head. He's very quiet. But, guys, Barnett, who just had all those great catches to get them in scoring position, just went nuts. Threw the water bottle. The phone went flying. He's very frustrated.
I can imagine, because, Holly, he has turned in a great performance tonight. Slayton. You just get the feeling these guys are one step away from a 70-yard run every time they have the ball.
And I tell you, I just saw something, too, that is impressive with West Virginia. I saw a wide receiver, Darrell Jalla, just going downfield about 15 yards and taking the safety out on that play. These wide receivers, they know with this offense, with Steve Slayton and Patrick White, the way they run the football, if we get a block downfield, it can be a 60 or 70-yard run at any time.
And all 3 of the guys that play a lot have been tenacious in that department. Slayton is already number 3 all-time in West Virginia rushing. He's going to put in his paperwork for the NFL. He wants to see where he stands if he is in the first half projected of the draft. He may go. Otherwise, he will probably come back. And what a return that would be, with Slayton as a senior and White as a senior if he comes back.
And Devine as a sophomore. And a couple of these other receivers who are freshmen.
Schmidt is the only senior starter on offense, and if that doesn't scare defensive coordinators to death, I don't know what would. Slayton again. Drilled out of bounds by Nakamura, who's an outstanding safety. And a nice kid, a very bright young man.
He's the leading tackler on this team. He's been a long-time starter. You know, he's a safety that the Cincinnati coaches like to get around the football because he's an excellent tackler. He has a nose for the ball. He makes a lot of big plays, strips the football really well. 7 tackles tonight. I mean, he's not a safety that you're going to see playing deep down the middle of the field as much as you're seeing him around the football.
West Virginia is just starting to pound the Cincinnati defense. Before that play, the last 7 carries had gone for 7, 7, 7, 5, 5, 5, and 7. Let's go to Holly.
Well, guys, you saw the big hit Haruki Nakamura just put on, and it's a miracle he's even playing football. He grew up with a father who was a judo coach But when his father died when he was 5 years old, his older brother took pity on him and said, I'm going to sneak you into football. You just can't tell Mom. Mom saw him going out of the house with pads one day, guys, and she finally relented. But it's a miracle he's even getting to play.
Well, he said he would have been, he and his brother. There goes Slayton. He's got some power, too. Nakamura, one of the guys he's dragging with him along with Anthony Williams. And there's a flag down back upfield.
Yeah, Mike Dent, the center, number 68, appears to be the guilty party on this one.
And that's a big, tough run by Slayton that'll come back. But back to Nakamura, he and his brother would have been training for the Olympics day in and day out. Their heritage in judo was that good.
Yeah, boy, his dad was an 8th degree black belt. His mom was a 4th degree.
His mom was great.
I mean,
that's right.
So,
you think they listened up at home?
Yeah.
You know, Mom tells you to clean up your room. You better do it, or she can throw you out the window.
Well, we asked him, you know, did Mom ever, you know, use the judo? And he said no, but she had a bamboo back scratcher that we were all terrified of.
And she wasn't scratching him with it either. Mountaineers moved way back to the Cincinnati 47. Here goes White.
Yeah, they're just driving on it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, and you look at the body language of the Cincinnati defense. Slower getting up off the ground. They've lost a little bounce in their step. And this West Virginia offense, Pat White limping a little bit at the end of that play.
He's been very active tonight. It's the last thing the Mountaineers could afford. The only game they lost, South Florida, one of the reasons they lost it was Pat White was injured.
I bet he doesn't run it on this one. I think Rich Rodriguez saw him limping a little bit. I bet he gives the football to someone else on this play.
Schmidt. Throw a bone to the big guy. Adam Hoppel made a tackle. And Pat White, who had rushed for 803 yards this season coming into this one, has picked up another 121, a career high 24 carries. He's only 2 away from that.
We had 147 yards rushing last week against Louisville, including the game-winning 50-yard touchdown run at the very end. And he is just a dynamic runner. Speed and vision.
3rd and 7. Cincinnati comes with the blitz. White unloads. Slayton out of the backfield, never saw it. Nakamura with good coverage.
Nice job.
White got dumped for his trouble.
Yep, nice job by Cincinnati. They're a zone team, but they say, hey, we got to go after Pat White, and we'll take our chances playing man and hope we can get to the quarterback before he can make an accurate throw, and they do.
That was a stand that Cincinnati had to have.
Absolutely, had to. West Virginia going to go for it here on 4th down. Too far for a field goal. One more time, Cincinnati. Last time they brought pressure and played man. They're lining up in 0-man coverage again, it looks like.
They thought they'd have stopped him. Now they got to do it again. Blitz coming. White over the middle, incomplete.
They baited him. They thought they showed man coverage, and then they ran out at the last minute.
Will Johnson ran a post, and Pat White missed it. So the Mountaineers turn it over on down. Cincinnati will have it when we come back.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world, and Genworth Financial, insurance for living, solutions for life.
Late 3rd quarter in Cincinnati, West Virginia continues to lead the Bearcats 21-10. Great aerial shots tonight, courtesy of Outback Steakhouse. Look for the Bloomin' Onion one at sporting events throughout the year. Cincinnati has made a big defensive stop and have the ball back. They could not afford to let West Virginia have another touchdown.
Yeah, they fooled West Virginia on the coverage on that 4th down play. Pat White very upset with the results on 4th down.
Mock. Good protection. Now he's flushed. And throws almost intercepted. Lewis had a shot at it and couldn't hold it.
Let's go back and see why Pat White was so upset with Will Johnson, his freshman wide receiver. He's going to run a post, but Cincinnati is going to drop a linebacker underneath there after showing blitz, and it looks like man, but it's really not. Corey Smith, number 42, is going to drop underneath it, and when Will Johnson saw that, he slowed down. He stopped on the route. Pat White wanted him to continue to run right through that, and he threw the ball to the spot that he wanted Johnson to be. Just a miscommunication with a young receiver.
And that's why quarterbacks get interceptions and look bad when it wasn't their fault. Mock trying to take off again. He's in trouble, and down he goes. Dingle just would not give up and finally got him and dragged him down.
And credit downfield to the West Virginia secondary. They've not done a very good job tonight of staying with their receivers when Ben Mock has scrambled out of the pocket. That time, Ben Mock nowhere to go with the football, and he ends up taking the sack on second down.
Dingle now with 8 sacks on the season. He's the Mountaineer leader. 6'3", 270-pound senior.
The worst part about that sack is now we're third and very long. Chances are the Cincinnati defense, which is fatigued, is going to have to come right back on the field.
3-man rush. Mock goes on the quarterback draw. That's sort of an odd call in that situation. He is not Pat White. He is mobile, but he's not going to get you 20 yards very often.
Third and very long. The sack on second down was just a killer for the Cincinnati offense, because your defense, they barely got a half a Gatorade in their gullet on the sideline on that one.
Rivers will go back to his own 20-yard line. Huber, who leads the nation in punting at 46-7, will kick it away. Clock running as we approach a minute. Spiral, but returnable. Rivers spun down at the 33-yard line. 14-yard return after a 51-yard punt, and the Heisman candidate will bring the offense back on the field with 57 seconds to go, third quarter.
IBM presents the 25 greatest players ever. Number 8, Bo Jackson. With a unique blend of power and speed, Jackson ran through SEC defenses for a career average of nearly 7 yards per carry. He was twice a bowl MVP, then took home the Heisman Trophy his senior season. IBM, getting it done.
Boy, what a player. Bo Jackson, number 8. Next Saturday through the end of the regular season, we'll give you 7 through number 3, and then we'll give you number 2 and number 1 during the Rose Bowl and the Capital One Bowl on ABC on New Year's Day. Roger Staubach's got to be better than that. What a great player.
It's so hard. I mean, those guys are all, we're getting to the point now where, I mean, you can make a claim for all of them being as good as anybody.
You're right.
Bo Jackson was special.
Well, Jackson, before he hurt his hip, he was virtually unstoppable. He looked so much. I mean, he ran like a guy who was a 250-pound fullback who could just crush people, and yet he'd crush one and outrun the next. Yeah. Frightening.
I can remember when he was also doing the baseball thing and playing with the Royals. I was in Kansas City with the Chiefs at the time, and he'd strike out and break that bat over his thigh.
Wasn't that something?
That was impressive in and of its own.
Last time West Virginia had the ball, they went 6 minutes, took a lot of time off the clock, but did not score.
Well, that's a tough little play right there to defend.
Isn't it?
Because Pat White it's kind of a play-action fake. He's faking like he's going to run, and then he steps back off the line and flips it out to Reynaud. And then you've got to tackle him out in space.
Little variation on the Tebow fake.
Yeah, that's right. We'll call that the White fake.
They let the clock tick down, and we'll go to the fourth quarter with the Mountaineers on top by 11. ESPN's College Football Primetime available on ESPN HD, presented by Pioneer Kuro HD TV. 21-10 West Virginia as we start the fourth quarter. Nick Lachey from 98 Degrees, formerly, Big Cincinnati fan on the sideline tonight. He was kind enough to do the lineups for us. And he's a little depressed right now as the Mountaineers driving, leading by 11. Slayton on the stretch. They just wait for a seam.
You know, they're not complex. I mean, they make adjustments, you know, based on what the defense is doing, but they have certain things that they like to do. I mean, this is the stretch play where the linemen are going to just kind of reach outside and let Slayton just kind of pick a crease. As soon as he sees an alley or a crease, he cuts back inside. Rich Rodriguez just wants his team to play fast. He said, I will always sacrifice plays for tempo. I mean, you know, you can draw up a bunch of plays, but if it slows your team down and slows your execution down, it's no good.
And they are wearing this defense down. Nice cutback by Slayton. First down inside the 40. And that last drive West Virginia had, if nothing else, went 6-09 and kept Cincinnati's defense out there again.
Yep, they're right back on the field. A 3-and-out by the Cincinnati offense, and you're right back out there trying to defend all these weapons and all this speed that West Virginia has. And Cincinnati's defense has played very well this year and even tonight, but they don't have a lot of depth. They're not playing a lot of different people out there.
First down, Mountaineers. Slayton again. Great move to get outside. And he's the 33, pushed out of bounds. Let's bring in Holly.
Well, guys, for Rich Rodriguez, he knows very well that West Virginia is still in the national championship hunt, but he's really trying to downplay it to his players and just focus on a Big East championship. In fact, before the game last night, they handed out these cards to their players. It said West Virginia versus Cincinnati, round 10. They've broken down the season like it's a championship fight. 12 rounds. They have 12 games to get there. And the players have added the motto, no excuses, no regrets. They're trying to just keep it focused on one round at a time to a championship.
Holly, it's going to be a little tough to focus after tonight. If they win this game, they were 5th in both polls, 6th in the BCS. They would move up a couple as White goes for the end zone. Renaud. And the ball comes loose. He was double-teamed. D'Angelo Smith got a piece of it.
Yeah, D'Angelo Smith almost came down with an interception. Pressure forced White to get rid of the football, and then right at the end, I thought this was going to be an interception. D'Angelo Smith just not able to come down with the football.
Renaud wasn't terribly aggressive going after that, was he?
You know, you talk about not losing your focus if you're West Virginia, but you know what? The other side of that, of not playing it up, not making a big deal, is these guys, these players know, and they also know what's happened to all these other teams that have lost their focus a little bit. Too many upsets to worry about anything other than the task at hand.
Got to take care of your business. Blitz on White. Steps inside it. Look out. Still on his feet. Patrick White inside the 20.
This is exactly what Rich Rodriguez says, is sometimes when you call a pass with a guy like Patrick White, you hope they play man-to-man, and you hope everybody's covered, because that means number 5 can take off. Cincinnati gets pressure. Perfect defense called, but they can't get number 5 on the ground. And he takes off and makes people miss. I mean, that, you know, you can't call better defense. You can't coach it up any better, but if you can't get him on the ground, it's no good.
Nice job by Mike Dent, the center, number 68, as he hustled downfield to get Pat White another block and a couple of more yards. Slayton lost his balance momentarily. Stiff arm gets another couple of yards. He's down to the 15. There's just no way to rest against this defense.
No. No way to rest during a play, and in this second half particularly, no time to rest at all for the Cincinnati defense. Look at that time of possession, dominant by West Virginia. 29 plays for West Virginia compared to 11 for Cincinnati.
2nd and 6. White stumbles over one of his linemen. And really, time of possession is one of those stats. Sometimes it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. tonight it reflects what they're doing to that Cincinnati defense and how tired they must be.
Right, and it makes a difference for West Virginia because they're such a heavy run-oriented team, the number 3 rushing team in the country. And with their speed and with those guys' abilities to make big plays, you wear them down, you make them tired, and pretty soon somebody squirts out for a big run.
So far, they have rushed for 255 yards tonight. 3rd and 5. White. Slayton is wide open. Slayton to the 1.
Boy, he had a couple guys open. He had a tight end open in the back of the end zone, wide open, nobody around him.
After he faked that ball to Slayton and turned to go the other way, nobody was within 10 yards of Slayton until he turned back.
Now watch when Pat White looks back here. He's got a couple of options. He goes to Slayton, and Slayton not able to step inside the cone, but gets it inside the 1.
Slayton, who has 14 rushing touchdowns coming into this game, may get another opportunity. He's lined up in the eye behind Schmidt. Slayton, touchdown, West Virginia.
Cincinnati is not an overly big defense. They're built for speed. They get pushed back. And Slayton into the end zone for 6.
Pat White, a couple of plays ago, got up a little gimpy. But he stayed out there and led the Mountaineers down to another score. McAfee for the point after. And West Virginia has increased its lead to 18. Todd's Taste of the Town continues from Cincinnati. Think he found some chili in the Queen City? Back in the Queen City of Cincinnati, we welcome you back to our college football primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. Another beautiful night we have for college football, and number 6 in the BCS, West Virginia, and soon to move up. Starting to dominate this game. They're up 28-10 now. McAfee to kick to Gilliard and Smith. Gilliard from the 5. Pretty good return out to the 28. Time for Todd's Taste of the Town.
When I think of Cincinnati, I think of chili. And here on the corner of Colerain and Hopple, there's a great place called the Camp Washington Chili Parlor. Now, the owner is a guy named John Johnson, who came to this country from Greece in 1951 to work here for his uncle. As it turns out, it's the only restaurant he's ever worked in his whole life. Every morning at 5 a.m., they start making chili, and they sell 50 to 55 gallons a day.
Driveway, Camp Washington Special.
All right, we'll check out a little more. You got to love when your meal's being made with an oar. My kind of place. Now Ben Mock in Cincinnati. And forget about the run. They're going to have to throw the ball now to get back in this. Moore is back there with him. And Moore will get a carry. Let's find out what Todd had for dinner.
Here at Camp Washington Chili, they grind their own beef every day, and the cheese has to come from Wisconsin. Now, this is what's known as 5-way chili. It's got noodles, chili, beans, onion, and of course cheddar cheese. And just for good measure, I've got a couple coney dogs on the side. That's what I'm talking about.
What are coney dogs?
You don't know what a coney dog is?
No.
A coney dog is a hot dog with mustard and some onions and chili and then cheese over the top of it. That's a coney dog, is like coney sauce or
Sounds
chili.
good.
Oh, it's very good.
No gravy?
No gravy, but I guess the chili kind of counts as gravy a little bit. Doesn't it?
You always have something that counts as gravy, don't you?
Yeah, that was a neat place. And John Johnson, came from Greece in 1951. His real name, now I wrote this down, Ioannis Ioannou was his real name. I mean, he changed it. Ioannis in Greek translates to John, which makes sense, but Ioannou Johnson was a little easier to say.
You don't think Greek cuisine and chili in the same breath, do you?
No, it's not Greek food, but
just good.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
They may have taken that ball away from Barnett.
Yeah.
Either an interception or a fumble by Ellis Langster. One or the other. It looked like Barnett caught the ball and Langster just took it.
There's another beautiful throw, and Barnett has it, and as he's trying to put it away, he just fumbled it. He tried to tuck the ball away. It wasn't stripped. Tried to tuck it away and dropped it off his hip.
Are we sure that was a catch?
Well, I don't know. We might have to take another look at that one. The interesting thing, though, is you look at 3 turnovers for Cincinnati. That was their goal coming into every game. We want to force 3 turnovers. Well, they've turned it over 3 times, and they've only forced 1. And that's been their undoing tonight.
And you can't do that against this offense. You need the turnovers to be in your advantage.
Ball thrown. Feet down. I think
like
it is
a catch.
It looks like a catch. He wasn't bobbling it. There wasn't a question of whether he had it.
And keep in mind, it was ruled a catch on the field, so it's going to have to be indisputable to overturn it. By the way, if you want to see any of the previous installments of Todd's Taste of the Town, you can find them all on ESPN.com by searching for Taste of the Town.
Tonight's attendance is sellout, 35,000.
Looked like a catch.
University of Cincinnati thanks you.
Yeah, pretty tough to imagine that there's any of the shots we've seen indisputable to overturn that. Marcus Barnett has had a big night tonight for Cincinnati. Redshirt freshman wide receiver out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland.
It's really strange they have him listed at 6'4", because Giddens is 6'3", and he's shorter than Giddens. And, I mean, he's skinny enough at 6'1", 165. If he were 6'4", 165, it could rain and he wouldn't get wet. Out of Upper Marlboro, Maryland, which is suburban Washington, D.C. This would be a huge ruling if Cincinnati can get the ball back. They desperately need it. The last thing they want to do is give it back to a Mountaineer offense, which is just going to try to shove it down their throat again.
But it just is interesting, again, when you think of what has aided Cincinnati in their 8-2 record coming into tonight, as much as anything has been their takeaways. 35 takeaways coming into the game tonight, plus 16 on the turnover margin. Best in the Big East, one of the best in the country.
The play in the field is reverse. The receiver never had the ball. Second down at the previous spot. Clock operator, please put 10:31 on the clock. 10:31. Thank you.
It was close enough so that I wouldn't be surprised if it went either way. Of course, West Virginia's not going to be happy about that. This is going to be another huge night for Rich Rodriguez if his team hangs on, and he has had sort of a storybook career as growing up in the state of West Virginia, being a walk-on in the program, becoming a really good defensive back, having a chance to play a lot for Don Nehlen, and then going away, developing his own style as a head coach, coming back, getting the Mountaineer job. And then probably the coup de grace for West Virginia fans was him turning down a huge offer from Alabama before Nick Saban took the job. And what about the Alabama score today? Louisiana Monroe? What a year. There's a handoff to Moore. Jeez.
Tell you what, I'm impressed with the West Virginia defense. I know they've given up some plays in the passing game. They've given up more plays when the quarterback has scrambled than any other time. But they have been stout against the run. They're aggressive. They've got pretty good speed. Their linebackers run to the football well.
Cincinnati doesn't have time to run the ball.
No.
I know you want to cross up an aggressive defense, but now you've got 3rd and 13. 3-man rush on Moore. Desperate to get rid of it, throws and got it complete. On the run, he has been sensational. That is close to a first down. Goodman is within a yard. I think it's probably the point they'll have to go for it here anyway.
I think part of the reason why you're seeing Cincinnati still trying to slip some runs is they can't block West Virginia right now. They're only rushing 3, and the 5 up front for Cincinnati having a difficult time blocking those 3. Now keep in mind, this offensive line, when you transition to a spread offense, as Cincinnati is doing, the most difficult position to make that switch is offensive line. This was an offensive line that was recruited under Mark D'Antonio's staff to be more of a power run the football offense. And you're putting them into an offense where they really weren't built to play.
And I thought Brian Kelly paid them a great compliment. Given all that they weren't designed as human beings, their body types, to play this kind of offense, he said they are playing just as hard as they possibly can every play. He was very impressed with their dedication, their spirit, and their effort.
Feels like they've gotten every ounce out of that offensive line, every ounce out of the 19 seniors that really bought into the message that he and his staff were bringing into Cincinnati.
4th and inches, they're going for it, and they have to make it. It's that simple. Quarterback keeper, and Mock has it. I like that call on 4th and short. You don't have to worry about turning around, handing it to a back. You never worry about the exchange. You just take the snap and go.
Well, now you're right. Down 18 points with 9.5 left in the football game. I mean, you need a little more sense of urgency offensively. They're a no-huddle team. It's Keelan Dykes who was down after that quarterback sneak.
And he's a terrific nose man for him. Let's check in with Reese, SportsCenter 30 at 30.
All right, Mike, Ohio State wins the Big Ten again, and they beat Michigan for the 4th straight year. Press conference expected on Monday morning, at which point it is believed that Lloyd Carr will announce that he is going to retire. Buckeyes won the game 14-3. Number 4 Oklahoma is down 34-10 to Texas Tech. That will be the 11th top 5 team to lose to an unranked opponent this year. SportsCenter after the game. Stay current, ESPN News.
And that is by far a record. 11 teams losing to unranked clubs. That is just staggering.
Yeah, it really is.
LSU 10-1. They're number 1. Kansas, the top contenders in the BCS. They have number 5 Missouri left, and then the conference championship game against Oklahoma. Missouri has Kansas left. Oklahoma, by the way, still has to beat Oklahoma State. West Virginia has 24th ranked UConn and Pitt, the backyard brawl. Both of those are at home. Ohio State is done at 11-1. That may be the good news. Being done, you know, you're like the leader in the clubhouse. You might as well be finished and let everybody else get knocked off.
Next weekend they can go home and eat turkey for Thanksgiving and watch and see what happens with everybody else and see how the chips fall for them.
Dykes slowly comes off. He's replaced by Chris Neal, a 300-pound redshirt freshman. But they'll need Dykes. Mock guns it down the middle too high. They've had guys open consistently right down the heart of the secondary. Well, you got to like Mock.
Yep. Yeah, he's a great story. I mean, I can remember watching him in high school and covered him when he played in the Big 33 All-Star game. And really, that's his connection to Cincinnati. Tim Hinton, who's the linebacker coach at UC, coached Ben in the Big 33 high school All-Star game in Hershey, Pennsylvania when he was a senior.
Mock in trouble, got away. Still in trouble. Throws and got it complete. He has made so many plays just like that, and almost every time it's been Barnett. You talk about Pat White being able to run around and make people miss. Mock's done it all night.
He has. I mean, he's been on the move so much tonight. And again, when he scrambles, unlike Pat White, he's scrambling to throw. He's trying to stay with his vision downfield, looking to make a play, throwing the football. The Bearcats starting to heat it up on the field, and we've got a Bearcat up here, Mike. I mean, I don't know if he wants to use the telestrator or what he wants to do, but I mean, how you doing?
You sure that's not Corso?
It might be. Yeah, it might be. What do you think? They're going to come back? Okay. All right.
They're not allowed to talk, you know.
That's right.
It's a rule. It's a big kitty, though.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny Dingle. So starters on back-to-back plays on that Mountaineer defensive line have limped off. Keelan Dykes, the nose man, first, and now Dingle, who's had a big game tonight, he limps off. So the Mountaineers are going to be really concerned about that front three and getting them back in shape. But Mock, who was at Wake Forest, had a star-crossed career there, transferred here as a graduate student, and he has really put up some numbers this year. He's played brilliantly. This time they'll go back to the ground with Ramsey. Here's where Ben Mock got hurt, and this is nasty.
Yeah, it was a fumble by the tailback. He went in after the ball, and just his right arm just got destroyed on that play. He actually broke his femur in his upper right arm and then also separated his shoulder, and they had to work on the arm. That's why the huge scar, just to get to his shoulder.
It broke the upper bone in half. They put in a plate and 8 pins, and then with the shoulder separated, they had to put in 3 anchors to keep that solid. Mock on the draw. Straight up the middle, and what a shot he took from Quentin Andrews. Holy cow.
Well, he's a little slow getting up. I don't think because of the shot to the head. I think it was more his leg was underneath him when he got hit. He lowers that shoulder, and his leg is pinned behind him. And we showed you the arm scar. When he was a freshman in high school, he had a broken leg. And he had a plate and several screws put in his ankle when he was in high school. That actually, his recovery from that actually gave him confidence and hope that he could come back from the arm injury.
And Cincinnati will take a timeout. That leaves them 2 with 7:51 on the clock. That may have been to let Mock clear the cobwebs.
Absolutely.
ESPN's College Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by Clean Exchange, the only electric shaver with a disposable head. Clean Exchange, new from Remington.
28-10 West Virginia, middle of the 4th quarter. Views of Cincinnati and Nippert Stadium, courtesy of our friends at Outback Steakhouse. Proud sponsor of the Outback Bowl. The Steakhouse Airship Bloomin' Onion 1 provides aerial coverage for sporting events across the country.
You know, I think you're right about that timeout. I think Cincinnati took that timeout for Ben Mock to give him a chance to clear his head, because he took quite a shot there and looked a little woozy.
West Virginia comes with a blitz. They don't get there. Mock throws underneath to Goodman. Lewis puts him down at the 14-yard line.
Well, there's no questioning this kid's toughness, and we talked about Pat White and his toughness, running the ball as much as he does as a 185-pound quarterback, takes a lot of hits. An extremely tough kid. The game they lost to South Florida, he was injured right before the end of the first half. I think that had a major impact on them not winning the football game.
Sure did. Mock for the end zone. Touchdown.
That was just a beautiful throw. There were 2 West Virginia defenders in position. If that ball was any lower, it's easily knocked down, maybe intercepted, but a perfect throw by Ben Mock. We've seen him throw on the run. This time he stays right in the pocket, and a perfect arc and touch on the football.
And Barnett, coming out party for this kid. 8 catches, 197 yards, and 2 touchdowns. What a sensational evening. There's the point after, and Barnett, what a future.
That's great drive. 71 yard.
We get back to last year's meeting between Cincinnati and number 7 Rutgers, when Rutgers was unbeaten for our All-State flashback. November 18th, same weekend, Cincinnati against Rutgers. Had a big crowd here. D'Angelo Smith making his first start at corner, scored on an 84-yard interception return. That gave the Bearcats a stunning 17-0 lead. Nick Davila also getting his first start, hit Brent Selleck and went 83 yards for the score. Cincinnati won 30-11, beating its highest-ranked opponent ever. They're trying to break that record against West Virginia, but they're still down by 11 with 7:14 to go in the game.
You see that 4 straight wins against ranked teams. That's including that game against Rutgers last year that we were here for. Trying to make it 5 straight if they could come back and beat West Virginia. The other thing Cincinnati trying to do with a win tonight, trying to become the first team to win 9 in a season since 1953, a Cincinnati team that was coached by Sid Gilman.
Wouldn't that be something? They'll kick it away. Devine a yard deep. Trying to get outside, turns the corner. Still on his feet. This little guy is amazingly strong. There is a flag down back at the 18-yard line. Looked like a face mask. Usually guys that small, that fast are a little easier to tackle. He's not.
Personal foul. Face mask. Cincinnati, number 17. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
We'll go to Denver on Monday Night Football. The Broncos and Jay Cutler will get a chance to face Vince Young and the Tennessee Titans. Monday Night Football on ESPN at 8:30. Our coverage starts at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown.
Vince Young, a mobile quarterback. I thought it was interesting. Rich Rodriguez told us last night that if he was in the NFL, he would still run a spread offense, but he would make sure that he had 3 quarterbacks on his active roster, because knowing that, you put your quarterback a little bit at risk doing that, but he would still do it.
Well, he'd have 3 different ones the next week, because those 3 guys would be in a hospital. White fumbles the snap from center. Cincinnati says they have it, and they do. Smith with the recovery.
And how many times do we see West Virginia under center? Hardly ever. They're almost always in the shotgun. They're under center. Pat White never got that exchange. It was never a clean exchange from the beginning. The ball was on the ground. Very unusual to see West Virginia in that set with Pat White under the center. Boy, oh boy.
Turnovers have killed them. Well, they always have hurt this program, but this year, the South Florida game, they had 6. They lost that. They kept Louisville in it with 3. Mock. Incomplete. That one was overthrown. Intended for Gilliard, but Gilliard was well covered. And Smith, who came limping off after recovering the fumble, is still limping. And here they're practicing the center exchange under center. Never a good sign when your starting center and starting quarterback are practicing snaps in the 4th quarter.
Well, normally it's something that is you assume is automatic. You work on it all the time and you do it every day in practice, but that's the first time I think they've done it tonight, wasn't it? Have they been in a shotgun every snap before then?
I think they took another couple of snaps from center early, I think. This may be a hold on a running play.
Injured player. Holding on the offense. Number 72. 10-yard penalty. Repeat. 2nd down.
Boo's not called for holding. Let's check in with Reese.
All right, guys. Clemson and Boston College playing for a spot in the ACC title game. James McCluskey goes in for the BC touchdown. They've added a field goal after that. And though Clemson seemingly has dominated the game, they're now down by 3. Oklahoma has a field goal, but Texas Tech still up by 21. Still a lot of time to go in Lubbock, though. That game on ABC. 34-13, the 4th-ranked Sooners. Sam Bradford's still out of the game, by the way, guys.
Boy, he's down by 3 touchdowns. Amazing.
Boston College trying to bounce back after losing 2 in a row.
That is Bujnak, who was hurt. He was called for a hold, and to add injury to insult, he's the player down.
You know, I know Brian Kelly told us the other day that he doesn't really get too worried about the penalties. He said, you know, when we were at Grand Valley State, we led Division II in penalties, and we led the MAC in penalties. We won the MAC championship last year. They're leading the nation in penalties coming into tonight. But again, when you're playing a high-ranked team, you can't afford to do things like turn the ball over, drop passes, and have a lot of personal foul penalties. I mean, they've had some costly penalties against them tonight. And I know you want your team to play aggressive. You want them to play on the edge. But, boy, in a game like this, you can't afford too many big ones.
And penalties can be almost as damaging as turnovers. They may not be scoring plays, but they take you out of drives, get the ball back to your opponents, let them work on your defense again, so they have a tremendous impact.
Well, this is a perfect example. They get the turnover. They've got momentum.
Exactly.
Now it's 2nd and 20. I mean, you know, 2nd and 20 is a hard down because now you're thinking, let's just try to get 10 or 12 and make it 3rd and 8.
Well, you could also say Ben Mock's got him right where he wants him, because he's made some spectacular plays under these conditions. Dingle again, putting pressure on him. Dingle was held. Dingle was held around the throat and almost got there anyway.
See, really who has you where they want you is West Virginia, because West Virginia's D-line knows, hey, it's 2nd and 20. We've got a lead in this game. They've got to throw the football. Last week, in the win, a 27-3 win over Connecticut, Cincinnati was called for 7 holding penalties. 7. And Brian Kelly said it could have very easily been 15. Well, they're getting close to 7 tonight.
Jeff Linkenbach, the backup tackle who came in with Bujnak going out, just reached out and grabbed Dingle, and it didn't even make any difference. Screen tipped by Dingle, almost intercepted by Reed Williams. So Dingle couldn't get there on the quick set, but got enough of it to break up the screen.
Boy, has he been active tonight.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been explosive. He's been active. He's got his hands on footballs. He's been in the quarterback's face. He has played a whale of a ball game. Really played well last week against Louisville as well.
He and Dykes have been really good. Scooter Berry, the other starter up front, haven't mentioned his name much tonight, but he is a very promising down lineman. Now it's 4th and 24, and they'll punt away, presumably.
And here again, the penalty forces you to kick here instead of even going for it on 4th down because you're so far away.
Beautiful kick this time. Rivers signals fair catch, gets out of the way, and it's down by Cincinnati inside the 10. A 51-yard kick, and down by Mike Mickens, the linebacker.
Johnny Dingle has really been active tonight, working against Bujnak, using his speed, forcing Ben Mock out of the pocket, inside rush, outside rush. And that's been the biggest difference in him this year is his consistency. I mean, he's always had the ability to make big plays, but what he's done this year is he has played hard on a more consistent basis, and that's made them a much better defense.
And it's hard to imagine that it takes a while for guys to learn that. You'd think you'd be there, you'd be given everything on every play, but it doesn't work that way.
The light goes on at different times, at different stages in people's careers.
White gives it to Slayton. West Virginia trying to be very careful here. Bird makes the tackle as Slayton just refuses to go down.
The biggest thing West Virginia has to do here is protect the football. I mean, they've got an 11-point lead. Their defense has played pretty well. The clock is on their side. They can't afford another turnover.
No. They are over 400 yards in total offense again. They average 462 a game. That's an average. Slayton.
You made the comment about turnovers have always hurt this team. Well, the numbers support that. West Virginia has won 43 consecutive games in which it commits fewer turnovers than its opponents. You know, so I mean, here they are in a situation where they're winning it so far by 1. But in the last 2 years, they've lost 3 games, and all of them they've been -2 in the turnovers in those losses. A couple losses to South Florida and another loss to Louisville last year.
3rd and a yard.
3rd and 6 now.
Well, that's why the numbers you just cited are why it's my contention if this team does not commit its own demise, if they don't contribute to their own loss, they are almost impossible to beat because this offense is so good.
The only other situation that West Virginia could get themselves into is because they are not a great passing team. If their defense has some breakdowns and a team gets up on them quickly and they're in a come from behind mode for most of the game, then they could have a possible problem too. But as long as the game is within reach with their running ability and with their ability of Pat White and Steve Slayton to make big plays, you're right. Turnovers are the only thing that's stopping.
3rd and 6.
Ball loose again. There it is. Pat White fumbled it 2 times last week against Louisville and allowed the Cardinals to stay in the football game. Rich Rodriguez cannot believe it. His leader, his quarterback, has put it on the ground again.
D'Angelo Smith recovered. The one thing you want to do right here is protect the football, and he didn't.
Normally you tell a runner to put it in your outside arm instead of your inside arm where the defense is. He puts it in his left arm. He's a left-handed guy. But the ball is stripped out, and Cincinnati in business again. My.
That's why coaches grow old before their time. Mock with a chance. Tipped away, incomplete. That was a heck of a play back there.
Yeah, Antonio Lewis, number 6, got his hand on the football. Dropped back underneath the route.
He saved it.
He sure did. Mock trying to go to the corner route to Goodman, and Antonio Lewis, who was in short coverage, read the quarterback and dropped underneath it and got his hand on the football.
Cincinnati with a new life, 4:23 to go in the ball game. They are down 28-17. They need 11 points, so they need 2 scores. Already in field goal range. That's been a problem for them this year. Barnett, flanker screen. Inside the 20, let's check in with Holly.
Guys, it may hurt Cincinnati here in the red zone a little bit. They're starting running back. Jacob Ramsey is out with a left ankle injury. He will not return. He's on the sideline. He's already got ice on it, stimulation therapy on it, and he's in tears, so it appears to be a severe injury.
Well, Holly, I think the only guy that's going to run the football here for Cincinnati, if they run, is going to be Ben Mock. I think they're going to throw the football, and maybe if the quarterback runs it, that'd be it.
Mock short set, throws complete. Guess who?
Yeah.
Barnett with another catch. First down, Bearcats.
Clock stops while they move the chains. Barnett just finds a little hole between the linebackers, and Mock, who has been on target all night, delivers another beautiful throw.
210 yards receiving. Holy cow. Cincinnati with a chance. Mock on the draw to the 5. This kid will not give up, and Greg Moore, the new tailback, threw him a huge block. Cincinnati trying to stay alive in the race for the Big East and an automatic BCS berth. West Virginia trying to get a leg up on the Big East, eliminate Cincinnati, and get closer to a national championship shot.
Boy, you don't like to see an injury for West Virginia, but this really helps Cincinnati because the referees have called an injury timeout. The clock would have kept running because they didn't gain a first down. It's 2nd and 2.
And this is their best guy in the secondary, Wicks.
Eric Wicks is down after the attempted block by Barnett. But Cincinnati has a chance, as they attend to Wicks, to get their play called and set up, so as soon as they mark the ball ready for play, they can get up and snap the ball and save the clock. You know, the thing about it here, because of those turnovers for West Virginia, the last 2 times they had the football, they only had the ball for 1 minute and 54 seconds. And so Cincinnati, with plenty of time to set out for a comeback here.
Wicks a little unsteady, but able to get off the field. They have seen 3 starters in the last couple of minutes assisted off the field. 2 down linemen and Wicks, who was their most athletic safety. So he's going to have to come out for a while. Dingle is the only one who was returned. 2nd and 2. They can get a first down just inside the 2-yard line.
And right now, if you're Cincinnati and Brian Kelly, you're thinking touchdown, and what's your 2-point conversion play as well?
Glottar. That's to the goal line.
Wow, didn't get in. Clock will still go.
But it will be a first down.
Yep. They can reset.
Well, he got as close as you can get without going in.
I thought he was in. Their short yardage back out of Cincinnati Elder.
His first carry got right to the goal line. 1st and goal. Glottar.
He didn't get in again.
No, he didn't.
Boy, oh boy, West Virginia with a big stand here and taking time off the clock. That's the most important thing.
I'd get Mock outside, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think at this point now, for sure.
Because you've got to get the ball back. Glottar again. This time it's a touchdown.
They needed that 2 plays ago and about 40 seconds ago.
Now they've got to go for 2.
Yep.
And they would be within a field goal. What a comeback by Cincinnati, assisted by West Virginia mistakes. 2 touchdowns after turnovers in 4:48.
Now the 2-point play, if they run the same one I saw Thursday, they'll bring Goodman and Gilliard inside and bring Marcus Barnett outside and try to hit him as he comes off the motion. Watch him go into the corner of the end zone.
Mock. Incomplete.
Larry Williams with a heck of a play.
That is huge because now a field goal doesn't help them. They still need another touchdown. Cincinnati coming back against number 6.
4 straight wins has Jimmy Johnson on pace for a 2nd straight championship. Only Jeff Gordon can stop him. And with him in the hunt, this chase won't be over till the checkered flag drops in Miami. The Race for the Championship concludes tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern on ABC.
Jimmy Johnson has such a big lead. If I'm him, I put on my hazard lights and go by 55 miles an hour. What, he's got to finish 18th?
Yeah, he's got to finish 18th. But you know what? That's like, it's like playing prevent defense. You can't, you get beat when you play prevent defense. You got to still be somewhat aggressive, I would think. I mean, I know you're a defensive driver, but not like Mark Fredrickson, our statistician slash chauffeur.
Stick it to the guys whenever you can. Onside kick.
Wow, great catch. I mean, that was a dangerous catch.
Jacob Rams. No, check it. Boogie Allen came up with the ball. He's a defensive back.
I mean, he knew he was.
Iffy, wasn't it?
He knew he was going to take a shot. He went up and secured the catch. Cincinnati tried to knock the ball loose. They went with the high kick. Off the ground, a high bounce, and then tried to jar it loose. Well, that's a nice job hanging on to the football. I mean, he knew he was going to take a shot. He took a shot from a couple Cincinnati players and from the turf here at historic Nippert Stadium.
Craig Carey, a backup quarterback, just creamed him. And one of the Bearcats is still down. Boy, that's no job for the faint of heart.
No.
Of course, you said historic Nippert Stadium. That's because it's one of the 5 oldest in college football. Harvard, the oldest active stadium, and then Georgia Tech, Yale, Cornell, and here at Cincinnati. But they've done a nice job updating this facility. And it really is a great facility right in the middle of campus, surrounded by the campus buildings. I think it's a beautiful setup.
Yeah. Speaking of some of those old stadiums, big game today between Harvard and Yale. Harvard with the big win. Yale was undefeated.
Well,
and the Crimson
might as well be upsets in the...
No matter what division we're talking about or what league.
Cincinnati can stop the clock twice. There's 2:25 to go. So West Virginia is going to need a timeout if they want to salt this one away. I mean, a first down if they want to salt this away. White in the gun. He has Slayton and Schmidt with it. Slayton.
Look at him cover that ball up.
Yes,
Two hands,
he did.
Wrapping it up.
You get the feeling that Rich Rodriguez was going to threaten people. You know, hang on to the ball. That's all you need to do is just hang on to the ball.
What's interesting, because even in practice, I mean, they one of the things they really emphasize is not dropping the ball, not being careless with the ball. When you get up off of a run, you hand the ball to the official. They do it in practice, not just touchdowns or big plays, every play. Hand the ball, let's spot the ball, let's run the next play. And they've dropped it on the ground a couple of times again this game.
White's going to use every second he can before they snap it off the play clock. Slayton again, cut back. Now Slayton, of course, had fumble problems a year ago, but that was before he had wrist surgery to correct the problem he had. He's been much better this season.
Number 10, Steve Slayton, the ball carrier.
2 timeouts. Cincinnati uses 1 here. So they'll only be able to stop it after second down. Then after third, the clock will run. Here's Reese.
All right, Mike, want to take a look at what's going on around the country. Texas Tech still laying the wood against Oklahoma. 34-13 is the score. Joey Halsley playing quarterback. Sam Bradford was injured very early. On ESPN2, Boston College and Clemson. Inside 3 minutes to go. Clemson took the lead on a diving touchdown from Cullen Harper. Matt Ryan trying to lead his team back. They just picked up a first down. Final 2.5 minutes on ESPN2. Winner goes to the ACC championship game. So, as you see, Boston College on the move against Clemson, trying to pull it out at the end. We'll keep you up to date in Seoul Sports Center when you guys finish.
Well, I'll tell you one quarterback who has played extremely well this year that nobody's talking about is Cullen Harper at Clemson. I mean, he has put up some pretty impressive numbers this year as well.
Really stepped up, hasn't he? 2nd and 4. Cincinnati must stop West Virginia here. Slayton got down just short of the 20. That should be enough for a first down.
During their last timeout, Rich Rodriguez had his team together and just basically told them, one more timeout. Hold on to that football. We get one more first down, and the game's over. That's all we need. One more first down.
And he was emphasizing 2 hands.
Yeah. Cover that ball, and let's get a first down.
And the other thing you like to see backs, that's right. The other thing you like to see backs do is when they get hit, get to the ground. Don't try to get that extra yard here so people can rip it out of their hands.
Well, because they got that one more first down, now they can go to the knee. Cincinnati can stop it one more time, but after that, it's over.
And this will be a heart-wrenching loss for Cincinnati. This would be their 3rd in the conference. And Connecticut and West Virginia would still remain tied at the top with only one loss. So Cincinnati would be out of it in the next minute and 14 seconds. West Virginia controls its own destiny. If they win out, they win it.
Well, next week, a big game in Morgantown, Connecticut.
West Virginia will move up to at least number 4. Those are the BCS standings. They would be 3 in both the polls, you would presume, if they move up 2 spots. The computer's not real kind to the Mountaineers. They knock them down a slot because of those. .114 to go in the game. Cincinnati can no longer stop the clock.
Pat White takes a knee.
Let's take a look at tonight's rivalry update presented by Sonic.
Third down.
And there are some big games. We will do the Iron Bowl. Alabama against Auburn. Missouri against Kansas. Tremendous national impact in that ball game. And number 10 Virginia Tech, number 14 Virginia. Both of those teams have quietly moved up the national ranking.
Well, that one's for the ACC Coastal Division title to win a trip to Jacksonville. Of course, the other side of that being decided down in Death Valley tonight between Clemson and Boston College.
Virginia's sort of been a stealth team all
they
year.
have. Well, they lost to Wyoming early on.
Yeah.
And people kind of wrote them off.
First game, wasn't it?
Yeah, they just kind of found ways to win. I think I was shocked by what they did to Miami. The last game in the Orange Bowl, everybody made a big deal about the last Miami Hurricane game, and they got blanked by Virginia.
Boston College has just gone ahead of Clemson, 20-17. And you can see people really upset here. They thought they had a chance. Certainly, the defense played well enough in the first half until about 5 minutes to go in the first half. They had handled West Virginia's offense pretty well. But with this offense, it just seems to be a matter of time.
That last touchdown drive before the first half really hurt Cincinnati. And then the turnovers really hurt West Virginia here in the second half. When it looked like they were going to put the game away, the turnovers allowed Cincinnati to stay in it. West Virginia bust to Cincinnati for the game, but they're flying home, so they'll get back to Morgantown a little sooner than it took them to get here.
What do they do with the buses?
Buses drive back home with no passengers. Buses maybe already left. They might be back in Morgantown already.
West Virginia comes to Cincinnati, and they survive. The Mountaineers still alive for the Big East, still alive for an automatic BCS berth, and still alive for a shot at a national championship as they win it here tonight. And Rich Rodriguez down on the field with Holly Rowe. Holly?
Good job. Coach saying good job to Cincy, and they did give a good fight. Coach, what was going through your mind after that second turnover opened the door?
That was like the last game. I couldn't believe it. And, Pat White's a warrior, and it don't hurt anybody more than him. But our guys hung in there. We knew we were going to be in a tough environment, and every win's a good one at this point.
You said this team had to really be focused, that every play was a Big East championship play tonight. How would you describe your focus on this team?
Well, I think it was focus. Unfortunately, we made it tough on ourselves, but at the same time, we had to play all plays. As you can see, it went down to the last play.
This sets up a big showdown next week against Connecticut. What do you think about that game, Coach?
Well, they've done a great job this year. I got a lot of respect for their program. They're going to play extremely hard. I think our guys will, too.
All right, just hang on to the ball, Coach.
Thanks.
Thank you, Holly. Todd, your quick impressions.
Well, I think that Cincinnati was a very game opponent tonight, but I think West Virginia made the plays when they had to. I think their defense is much better than they were a year ago. When their defense needed to make plays, they made them tonight.
West Virginia wins at 28-23. SportsCenter is next on ESPN News Postgame Extra. For Todd Blackledge, Holly Rowe, and our entire ESPN crew, this is Mike Patrick. Thanks for watching.